Greetings and welcome, family, to another page of Magnets, Crystals, Pyramids. I am your host, Brother Unc, also known as Uncle Hanky. And tonight we're going to have a special show of Brother Panic guiding us with Q&A and live demonstration of meditation. And in this 7 universal year, this is perfect timing. So before we continue, let us do the opening invocation starting with Brother Baraka in Harlem.
Putting out a call to the warrior in you, to the healer in you, the king, the queen, the magician, the lover in you. Every single day, we are called to walk in our purpose. Answer the call. Lay down your burden and anything that holds you back and take your rightful place. The battle is everywhere. It's right in your face. Let's go.
Okay, thank you, Brother Baraka. Thank you, Miss Bliss. And I am in me. I am in Brother Panic. I am in Salam. I am in Kai. I am in you, the listening audience, now and in the future. We individually and collectively call upon our ascended master ancestors, big brothers and sisters. And I want to invite Simeon Toko, the latest Christ born in the Congo, invoked an army of bulletproof, muscle bound angels, black angels, chased the Belgians clean out of the Congo. Simeon Toko will be with us on this platform. Call upon Ascended Master Sheikh Amadou Bamba, who founded the city of Tuba, to be with us on the show. Sheikh Ibrahim. Call upon Gatekeeper of Mount Shasta in Northern California, Saint Germain, Nikolai Tesla, Melchizedek, Enoch, the Ethiopian who rose into the heavens and became Metatron. Be with us on this platform. And all our brothers and sisters, wherever they may be, we ask the presence and the protection of Archangel Michael in this blue electronic belt of protection to surround our brothers and sisters, uh, our mothers and daughters and aunties and uncles here in this life and beyond. Archangel Michael, be with us on this platform. Call upon Archangel Gabriel, be with us. Call upon Angel of Knowledge and Enlightenment, Archangel Uriel, to be with us on this platform. Call upon the Shroom Masters, Dr. Sabi, to be with us on this platform. Kalindi Aye to be with us. Shroom Master Dr. George Washington Carver. P.B. Randolph. Call upon Frederick Douglass, Mary McLeod Bethune, Shroom Jedi Walker, Harriet Tubman, who took shrooms to see the slave catchers in the dark. Call upon Chief Geronimo, Chief Osceola, Chief Sitting Bull, Chief Crazy Horse, White Buffalo Calf Woman. Quetzalcoatl, be with us on this platform tonight. Call upon the trans masters of Buddha, Krishna, be with us. Seraphis Bey, Sanat Kumara, call upon Elijah Muhammad, be with us. Call upon Nat Turner, John Brown, join us. All the ascended masters in the Earth's hollow. We ask ascended masters of Syrian star system, Pallades, Orgone, Andromeda, to supersede the transpired school bus drivers of this realm and take dominion to create a beautiful spaceship, turquoise blue planet, from being a prison planet chicken farm to a pristine crystal blue place and sanctuary. I also want to acknowledge the forces of nature within all of us. Elegba, Oshun, Yemaya, Ologun, Oya, Shango, Ogun, Obatala, Ochosi, be with us on the platform. Calling upon Credo Mutwa, Zulu shaman, be with us tonight. Heteru, Aset, Imhotep, Ptahotep. So let it be spoken, so let it be done. Ashe, Aho, Donada, Wado, Amin. So everyone who's listening, welcome onto Magnets, Crystals, and Pyramids. And as always, we want to know where you are listening from and what part of the world. So without further ado, we are bringing on our featured guest tonight, who I know is a natural born griot and an astute occultist. And in many ways, I am in total agreement with them because you are the divine beings of creation. There is no other than you. So let us begin. Welcome, Brother Panic. And the Shakti sister, Salam, is present. I want to also thank the Shakti sisters who's going to be coming on shortly. And you got the mic, brother. Tonight's show is about.
All right. We're gonna get into some of the basics of meditation. Talk about the mentality, talk about some of the things you can expect, because we find in this long conscious, whatever this is, Black people are doing, in this process, we find that I just dropped one of these edibles. Could be fentanyl.
Let me see.
This is what they're selling now. This is 100 milligrams per drop. Take 2 when I'm just going to relax. I'll take 1 now just so I could be a little bit more coherent. So this is Delta 8, of course. This is HHC and THCP gummies.
Yeah.
Pineapple Express. Okay. You can just buy that shit now in the stores, in the smoke shops. no hassle, no sweat. So you don't have to sneak them anywhere. Pretty much, they got when they did CBD. What I found out was they made it like 0.08 legal of using actual weed. So, but CBD, that aspect of the weed doesn't get you high. It relieves the anxiety. But just like weed, that's why it went away. You need more and more. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You smoke a blunt, after a while, you get immune to it. You need 2 blunts, then 3 blunts. Then the next thing you know, you're a weed head. So with CBD, it was working in the beginning, but then you need a bigger dose. Then a bigger dose. Then after a while, you're like, fuck CBD. But there's weed itself is actually called Delta 9. So what they did was take another aspect of the weed, and because CBD was now made legal that you can use 0.08, Delta 8 uses that same 0.08, but you get a high from it.
Wow.
So now, just under the same CBD law, they just made all 0.8 with Delta 8 instead of CBD. And now you're pretty much getting high. Then there's Delta 10 and all these aspects that are still a weed under under the CBD law that was passed under that precedence.
Mm.
Now, now you're getting high for free, pretty much. But that's the way they wanted it, because they know they have to tranquilize us just a little bit more. So they that using it to free minds. Of course, they use weed to tranquilize you if you have no knowledge or you have no goal or you have no thinking pattern. Weed does expand the mind, but without nothing there, it turns into paranoia. It turns into conspiracy. So you also be aware that conspiracy is not something we come up with against the government. Is things that the government actually puts out. Within the truth, they'll put all the truth out and all misinformation out along with that truth under the banner of conspiracy theory. So if you put it all under the banner of conspiracy theory, then when you do say the truth, people believe it to be a conspiracy. And then when you're saying this outlandish shit that they made up, you can't tell the difference between the two. You'll never be able to tell how JFK got shot, but within all the stories, the truth is there. The government actually puts that out. And when they give you stuff like this, the weed at first, and now what they're acting like we got over with and can buy this in any gas station that you want, is actually used to tranquilize you. Because now with the conspiracy and what this does to expand the mind, and you factor in the conspiracy, the lies versus even the truth they have, you'll just be paranoid and confused.
Mm.
Most of us are. So that's why it's very important. Any stimulant that you take, you must be on a path, because the stimulant is to help you to understand and expand on that path, to free your mind within on that path of the constraints of humanity. While you're on that path of consciousness, humanity is always gnawing at you. And we're going to get into that with the meditations tonight.
Yeah,
So it's
please.
gnawing at you. So these type of things, all of them, and there are different levels, of course. But let's say we're starting at the basic level of just dropping some weed or even liquor, for that matter. It at the basic level is designed to stifle your human thought. It's designed to put your human thought or your consciousness or your ego at rest while you're on your mind expansion journey. You can go in uninhibited by your human anxiety, stress, your own self-doubt within your own ego, and the emotional imbalances that you may have due to what's going on in your life on the planet. It puts those to rest for the moment, so you can have so you can be in the moment of the experience to pull more back down here. But if you have no path or no journey, your mind just goes on this expansive thought process, and it now expands the paranoia, or it expands the conspiracy that you're not sure of. There's certain things that you study and know how it's operating, how things operate, where when you hear 1,000 conspiracies on the subject, you know what the bullshit is, because you know how the order of operation goes through spiritual and ritualistic means. If you don't understand how spirituality and ritual works, that's when it works on your ass. That's when they're able to subliminally attack you, or they're able to penetrate the subconscious, which is how they control you. So if you have no understanding of how the system works, then you'll be used by the system. So to take these type of things and understand how the system works, when something or a thought is presented to you or laid before you, or the subject that is on the table, you kind of know how to you work as a detective, understanding understanding internally a routine ritual that is done, and you'll see how things fit into that system to give you a truth, or to give you your truth based upon your study. But that's why you consider something like this a part of your work, not just a part of your escape, or a part of your a pleasure, even though it works towards that too. That's not the focus. The focus is to expand your conscious thought process, but you first must have one. To have that conscious thought process, that is built through meditation. But what you've learned about meditation is actually what's slowing you down. Because 9 times out of 10, what you've learned about meditation is about posture, is about you're supposed to be doing something that no one never really tells you what it is that you're supposed to be doing. First, before I'm already starting to get into it, let me greet Uncle Hank. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yes,
Sister
pleasure,
Salon
brother.
for showing up, to being the first Shakti sister to add her beauty to the situation.
Oh
And she's
yeah.
doing an excellent job of that. I am sure of. As she states, I am love, I feel the love. So thank you for showing up.
Yeah,
And,
thank you. Shah
and
Salam.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
yes, ma'am. All right. So
Oh, you know what, Panic?
yeah,
I just want to ask you two questions real quick.
yes.
You know, I get a real kick out of seeing people who post where they're listening from all over the
Okay.
world.
Yes,
Is
sir.
that okay that I put it on the screen, or is
Yes,
that
yes, yeah, yeah. Let's please. That's in fact, when I do my lives, usually that's what I'll do too.
yeah? Because
When
that's
I'm looking at the
fascinating.
crowd, I'll shout out everyone who showed up from around the world. So let's go ahead and do that.
Okay, and the second thing, brother, I never thought that this would come to my mind, but dealing with psychedelics,
Mhm.
wow, for over 20 years.
Right.
Yo, man, honest truth. A lot of folks don't change. You don't do nothing for nobody. If they ain't
Right.
putting in the study, it's a waste of money and
It's a part
time.
two. Yeah. There's a part two to that. That's what we'll get into a little bit today, how they can make these two worlds come together. That's usually what I find they don't know how to do, Uncle Hank, is make
Yo,
the two worlds come together.
they get high as a kite, and then I think they peel, they heal, and ignore the messages of the plant wisdom. And then
Right.
they just become the regular people they were before they spent so much money on ayahuasca, shrooms, bufo, changa. You know, they
Mhm.
don't change. I'm
Well,
like, what the hell?
mhm.
You wasting medicine.
Well, they think the experience of the high is the actual spiritual experience, and that's far from the truth. The high is to enhance your spiritual reality, and
Mm,
it's not they so they're looking for it to be the story, not a
mm,
part of their story or a tool in their story. They're supposed to be building a house, but they're focused in on the hammer. Like that was in the Bruce Lee movie. That's an Illuminati uh uh uh, uh saying, let's just say, when he walks to the young boy and says, point to the moon. And he points to the moon and he smacks him on the head. And he said, if you concentrate on the finger, you're going to miss all the glory of the moon. So
mm,
now this also translates to the symbol of Jesus, while he's sitting, with one hand on the heart, but he's pointing up, just like the young kid was in Into the Dragon. And the point of that is he's actually telling you where he's going, or what his power is, or what he's all about, that is actually higher than him, and is symbolic of that, of the true God, or the true transformation process of the Christ. Christ is just done but a conscious person. We all would be touched with the Christios energy. That's why we're here. So that means we have more of our journey to go to. So, but most people concentrate on the finger. They concentrate on Jesus to save them, and not understanding that it's actually some work you need to do under these titles. So this title of consciousness, this title of shaman, doesn't mean just take drugs and how many and how much drugs you can take. It means you're actually a spiritual person that comes back with more spiritual information from an expanded work plate, because your tools and the house you're building is extensive and mansion like in its nature. Most people aren't building a house. They're trying to just they're enjoying the fact that they're able to use tools. Or yeah, it's like going to a blacksmith station, not knowing shit, but he's letting you touch the anvil and the hammer, and you feeling mighty, but you're not really crafting a sword. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
not really crafting a sword. You're in the blacksmith's workshop playing with his tools, but you're not building anything. And that's really the understanding that you have something, or you have a path or a goal or something you're trying to find out, even within yourself first, besides trying to save the Black community. You're trying to find these things in yourself first. So you have to at least have a blueprint or a plan for a house that you're building before you take any of these kind of things. Specifically, I get playing around and testing them, but ultimately, if you're going to call yourself a shaman and doing shamanistic work, this is what it is. I'm not making it up. This is not my definition. This is the object of these kind of things. And without that, you're just getting high. And most people who are on this level stay paranoid and stuck in conspiracy that they cannot decode. You have to be able to decode things to know that it's either just a theory or a true conspiracy. Conspiracy theory is not a compliment. To be, it's really trying to call you a cuckoo, and you only have a theory, something that can't be proven. So most of what you're trying to decode, let's just call it, say 9/11 for an example, you really wasn't there. There are things and clues that line up that you know how they do. Then you can read books and say, oh shit, they did this before. And this is how they did it before in Germany. And then when you see they did it before in Germany, and you know they did A, B, C, and D. So now, today, you can eliminate P, E, F, G, because you know they did it A, B, C, and D. So now the conspiracy that they added all these other letters and LOMONOP, you can say that's dead, because I have history on them doing this ritual in Germany before for this purpose. When I apply that model to today's 9/11, this is what I come up with. So now you just escape paranoid thoughts about 9/11 by understanding what they did and understanding how stupid they are. That's when your thoughts may really get paranoid for a true reason, besides not knowing, to see what they're really, the work model that they're actually working off of, which is yours, which is a Mayan calendar. They're following the Mayans listed within that calendar, not just the end at 2012, which they weren't talking about the shit you seen on in the movies. They were talking about a new paradigm coming in, and that shift has happened. That shift has happened. With Beetlejuice and the COVID was a new shift. We shifted into a new golden age reality. We just don't understand it, and we're at the cusp of it. And as we get deep, we got to understand this is definitely our time here. The real truth is we don't want any more time here. That's why most of the masters have left, and Hank could attest to that. No one's here that really came and taught your ass. I'm just scraping the bottom of the barrel like I knew I would be. But everybody's gone. And everybody's gone because that shift has happened. The work has actually been put in for this particular group. There'll be more for the next group, but this is for the last group. That's why we're in this shift. That's why we're in cleanup time, because we did bring on the shift that we were talking about. Indeed, and that shift came because of our minds, because of what we put in the world. It's not just the immediate audience that we're talking about. Just us talking like this on this planet changes the frequency of it. And there has been a group of us talking like this since the mid 80s to early 90s, in this context of filming this network that finally got to where we're at today. Has been going on for a while. So that means there's been a lot of people that have been talking this level of frequency. And that's all that it really needs to change the aura of the earth. And it has. We have kids now being born conscious. We wouldn't even have anybody. Hank can attest to it. He's one of the first from this new shift of consciousness that truly emerged. Hank's one of the first. My aunt was one of the first. They were the cuckoos in their family.
You got that right.
The cuckoos.
They thought I was cat shit crazy.
That shit crazy. And I could attest to it being a young kid having a conscious aunt. Oh, here she come again. These fucking crystals. Dreadlocks and shit. What the fuck is that? You know what I'm saying? Let me tell you the time. My grandmother, my sweet, sweet dumb ma, when I heard about her shit, I was like, what the fuck? Like, Granny? She really did this shit? Like my aunt said, when she, in the 60s, when she took the perm out, my grandmother kicked her out the house.
Wow.
Kicked her out the house. Put it in or die. You got to go. And she left for taking that shit out her hair in the 60s. My grandmama. Then when I talked, then I had an aunt who became, she was conscious, my aunt Yokevet. That's who knows Uncle Hank since the 70s, I believe. Or at least the 80s.
Yeah, I think it's 80s. Yeah,
80s.
Definitely 80s.
80s.
Yep.
Okay. And then my other aunt became Orthodox Muslim. So she had about 4 or 5 kids. My aunt Yokevet, who Hank knew, had 2, and me and my sister were the oldest, and we had motherfucking a fairy tale. She lived on Roosevelt Island in the 70s. This is exclusive New York real estate. So much so it was like Neverland over in that motherfucker. It's a little island between Manhattan and Queens. And you know, in those Spider-Man movies, that tram that you see in New York.
That's right.
Goes there. It was magical just to get to that motherfucker. And so and it was right across the water from me and my sister. We lived in Queensbridge, which you can see my grandmother's apartment from our apartment.
But magical island.
Across the water.
Yep.
So magical. So we thinking everybody had, you know, all the sodas and Snickers and shit a nigga could ever get. They were always good for $10. You know, but when I talk to my cousins, they got a whole different reality because of how they looked. Orthodox Muslims and vegetarians on my Yokevet side and all that. And so my grandmother, because we were so-called the normal kids, treated us normal. I didn't know this. You know what I'm saying? So consciousness is a hard deal. And Hank and these guys came up. My aunt told me, you know, all she gets, even for eating vegetables, was pretty much a kick in the ass. She said she was lucky to get a tomato when she had, can I get a salad? A salad whenever she went out. And she said she was lucky to get a tomato. They, you know, how many jokes did you go outside and eat the grass and shit like that?
Oh, I heard it, man.
Yeah,
I heard. I had dreadlocks back in the early 80s, brother.
Oh, boy.
And the ones who gave me the hardest, the meanest looks when I had dreadlocks going downtown was the sisters who were going to the offices. They looked at me like, ugh.
Right, you're a threat. I
remember that. I was wearing it before it became popular.
A lot, right before it became popular.
And then after a while, it caught on. But when I had locks,
Right.
yo,
Right.
the corporate, the working class was looked at me with despise, man.
Right. In the 90s, when it caught on, then they started discussing this shit on like In Living Single. You know, why can't we wear it in the corporate office? Like, oh, because it was a style. It wasn't a spiritual statement. But then people fell on it because of my culture and my spirituality. But it was really cutting the shit on the sides and twisties on the top that really started catching on. But again, as Uncle Hank said, wearing full dreads before they were popular was like incredible. My aunt came in, you know, when she had dreads, we didn't know what the fuck to make of it. And then, you know, we didn't know what the fuck to make of magnets and drink this and my juices and da 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 da.
I had to sell lemonade to make ends meet at African Arts Festival. People were looking at me with magnets like I was out of my mind, man. I ended up having to do lemonade, ice cold, homemade, Southern style lemonade, made up a lingo, a jingle to sell lemonade.
Just so these niggas could come and get a magnet.
Yeah.
Right. So we got to understand, first and foremost, what's so easy for y'all to sit down and listen to was a real hard path and a real tight path, because people started to find like minds after a while. Aunt Yo Kebbit would find Uncle Hank, and then that was very thin and far and few in between.
Special shout out to Yo Kebbit, wherever
you
are
she,
in the
she
world.
moved to Africa on our asses.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
She lived in Ghana. She lived in Ghana. So I've interviewed her on forums. She tore shit up on forums for me as well. So, you know, she hung out, she's been around, she's come and she's opened up for me at shows and all of that stuff. And she has her own services. Next time I'm on, I'll have her info for the services she offers, the Reiki and all the rest of that stuff.
She's a powerful healer. She's powerful.
Always has been. And I would just remember her coming over with her shit, and here we go. And you just took that moment when your aunt would just, and let me tell you, and what you need to do. And you just be sitting there just looking waiting for her to finish. And then to make it quicker, it began in the formation of like minds that was slow and far and few in between. They would gather for lectures. Tap Video was one of the earliest. Sister Bert was one of the earliest. I know I'm missing a few, but they started recording and people started gathering. And the tapes would go around in a very underground network in most of the major cities. Then the next, of course, in these cities, they would start inviting the lecturers around from this network. So then the lecturers pretty much would go to cities. One of the ones that would go to a lot of those cities was Bobby Hemmett. And each one of them had a story on how they got into the scene and became speakers. So this network had a certain mentality, had a certain dignity, had a certain small, like-minded, pure aspect to it. And it went on through the 90s. And in the early 2000s, 2004, 2005, that's when you started seeing an internet presence. A slow, reluctant one, but one nonetheless. And when it happened, it was guys like me who were in the audience mostly. I was speaking, but there was the major speakers. Then there were the guys who like opened up for them. Then there was guys who just spoke, who was on the network, but just was small figures. Now, I came at an interesting time where it was after 2000 and everybody was talking about Y2K. Nothing happened. And when nothing happened, the network took a hit because people are waiting for something to happen. So there was no lectures going on. A group of guys, Brother Shabazz and a few others, started Eye Opener Productions.
Special shout out to Shabazz. I just saw him a few minutes ago, man.
Oh, really?
He's having a baby shower Saturday. So
he's having another baby?
Yo, he got another one. I think Shabazz is a grandpa and he got a newborn. I mean, he's just going through like a training through the night, man.
His kids is about the same age as me, man.
Yeah, he got some newbies, man.
And he's still having kids. That's what's good for your brother Shabazz.
God bless Shabazz and Jamila. Yep, God bless him.
So Shabazz, Eye Opener, Black Dot, they really put a spark back into the scene. The tape started going around. People started getting into DVDs of it. So the information was still pristine. And you started seeing the YouTube, MySpace came into existence. And then what I noticed when we got on MySpace, there was thousands of people around the world who wanted this information, who didn't know how to find that network that most people, or I can't say most people, that a few people knew about. That network became big. It became online attention, and we have what we have today. And then, of course, because the mind control of getting hits, the attention of YouTube, the false fame that is surrounded by it, the ego that gets out of control because Black people start telling them how much they love you, and they don't understand that they will say how much they hate your ass if you say the wrong thing. So they've taken it as real love, and their egos can't take it. And then y'all already seen the results of all of this: the arguing, the infighting, the collapse on tape, the lies to keep up with their imagination of what they want to happen. All of these things, because I would say a lot of them weren't grounded spiritually to understand the flaw or some of the things that are going to be tossed your way. Interestingly enough, I was taught about lecturing directly from Brother Bobby Hemmitt, and one of the biggest things he talked about is how to manage your ego. Not if Black people like you, when they do. So I guess from my disposition, he knew I can be that speaker that would get attention, but it's what I do when I do get that attention that matters. Will I lose my motherfucking mind? And that's one of the things he talked about. He talked about a book called The Spirits Book, written by Alan Kardec. I think it's something like that. It's written a long time ago, and it's an entire book of channel. The Orishas rely on that book a lot, like a Bible. Well, I wouldn't say like a Bible, but like one of their tools, as they quote. But in that book, they talk about ego poisoning. And they talked about how these young gods were talking to these older gods, and they were saying, we're going to Earth, and we're going to turn this motherfucker out. That motherfucker, I heard about some shit they call pussy. We are going to go as gods. When we get down there, watch what we do. So the older gods say, listen, you don't want to fuck around on Earth, because the trick is when you get to Earth, you're going to get the most dangerous thing in existence. Nigga, we gods. We ain't scared of shit. They said, well, you're going to get something called the baby brain. And when you get the baby brain, you are going to forget all the shit you think you know. Nigga, please. Now, that shit is in the movie John Malkovich, Being John Malkovich, which I did a breakdown of. And the movie basically is they found this gateway to John Malkovich, the actor's mind, and they used the actual actor. And the idea was these old people would use this vessel when they're about to die. They would go in this gateway, stay in this vessel, which would be a baby, and grow within this baby. But if they do it right, they're able to retain their consciousness. If they don't do it right, they'll get absorbed into the body and forget who they are. So this portion is what they were dealing with, is exactly what these gods were talking about. that you're not able to retain who you are. I have one of those memories where I remember getting my diaper changed. And I remember being Brother Panic in my head, but I couldn't do anything with my body. I remember being as conscious, just like I am now, as Brother Panic. And I remember my aunt changing my diaper and sticking me with a pin because they ran out of diapers. I ran out of Pampers, so she put a diaper on me and I had to stick
Old school.
old school, because they were babysitting. I remember this shit in 1960. This had to be 69, 70. So I was 2. Or no, actually, I couldn't have been 2. I had to be even younger, because they were changing my diaper. So I had to be at least before 1. This is still probably 69, 68, 69. And nevertheless, I remember my consciousness sinking back into darkness as I grew up. As you hit your leg, bump your knee, the more you start holding on to your body, saying, this is mine, this is what I got. Once you start to realize this is yours. I've seen as my granddaughter grows, the more possessive she gets of her own and aware of her own body, where your consciousness falls into this ego. And so I remember going into that, and your path or your consciousness is to pull that, the same guy that I remember, pull him back. I did. And so if I'm able to pull him back with very few, or at least the least emotional control, or the least paranoid or schizophrenic control of my mind that this planet has to offer, I'm in a good place, because it may allow me to remember my path here. And that's really the key. So these younger guards who went down here, they get fucked up out of their arrogance. But when the older guards come, the trick is, are they able to retain their consciousness in their work? And that's us. Some of the ones who were, Hank is one of the older guards who came down, because he was able to remember his consciousness way before it was popular. He was able to retain. Listen, I need y'all to understand how important that is. He was able to retain, because I'm gonna show you where meditation could get you there if you're not already.
You know what?
Uh-huh.
Brother Panic, real quick.
Yeah.
Family, what he's dropping on us, Salam, we got to get some water. I got to get my water jug. Y'all got to hydrate while he's talking, because he's speeding up our chakras. And Salam, your energy is speeding up my chakras. So I'm gonna grab this jug. So go ahead, Panic. Right. I'll be right back. I gotta get get me some water, man.
Okay, I'll keep going.
Yeah.
All right, get that Kananga water. Where was I at? So your ability to retain who you are is another way of saying you're able to understand the work you came to do. Now, I understand the work I came to do. I already know, even before I knew what I came to do, I got a reading by Baba Lau, because I was with a Orisha girl, and he was telling me, you came to teach many people, you'll teach thousands of people. And I had no clue what he was talking about. I'm like, what, IT? Because I was studying IT at the time. So your work is, he said, you've already done this before. But someone asked you to come back to do it again. I found out later on that was Bobby Hemmett. I didn't know at the time, and he didn't say at the time. And so what I found was I was able to retain my marbles. And that's why I'm able to teach, and was always able to teach, because that's what I came to do. That's who I always was. And I surmise my Aunt Yokevet, who I talked about, Uncle Hank, others who stepped before you, and then there's others who have no fucking clue, that are sitting in front of you pretending to be your teachers. How could you tell? You got to know the difference. You were duped in public school with how to learn. So when people pretend that they're teaching you, you don't. When someone is teaching you, they're teaching you forward things. If someone is teaching you something that's happening in the news, and then they keep teaching you or pretend to teach you about things that are happening. You know what I'm saying? If they, in other words, if they pretend to start teaching you about crypto when everyone's talking about crypto, then when everyone stops talking about crypto and start talking about red cups, they're talking about red cups now. That means they're not forward teaching you. They're reacting to what's happening in the world. And they're trying to act like they're on the cutting edge of teaching you with what's happening in the world. But you're trying to supersede this world. You're not trying to, or you need to figure out if you're just trying to succeed in this world. But if you're trying to succeed in this world, then you need to still stop listening to them dumb motherfuckers because they're broke. And they're on YouTube and they're not making it with crypto or the metaverse or whatever else is fucking hot. They're not making it with that. They're talking about it because they think your minds are into it. So they just pretend to say Hotep and Ashe and Brother Barako Barino Barashino did this. And you say, okay, that's the deep way to talk about crypto. But in the end, they're just talking about some shit that don't matter because it's crashing even with white people. So if you're really trying to get into spirituality and move, you got to move past that type of thinking. And I'm telling you, you can't have it both ways in this particular case. Your mind is either doing one thing or the other. You either concerned with your human transformation or your spiritual transformation. What I can say is, so we're clear on this, when you do your spiritual work, your human work lines up with it. Meaning usually the things that you worry about which are in your human life kind of starts to balance out. And you kind of start to see the answer. I have very little, oh shit, we got more of the Shakti ladies in the
Oh yeah, they're coming in, man. They're coming
how
in.
did do? All right. So the more I delve into spiritual work, the more I started to see my human issues or the things I put my mind on as a human became actually easy as pie or a little bit clearer to deal with. So ironically, while I thought had to do two different things to exist, what I found out is my spirituality runs my humanity. What I'm trying to do is run my humanity and ignore my spirituality. And then it looks like my humanity is all over the place, that I'm always putting out human fires. Oh, my son did this. Oh, I need to do this with the car. Oh, fuck, the Rubik's Cube fell apart. Oh, now here he come knocking at the door. Shit, we all out of fucking English muffins. Like you're following yourself as a human. When I put my shit on spirituality mode, like, oh shit, English muffins. We do have enough of them. Oh yeah, okay. Oh, that's easy to do. Oh yeah. Oh, he figured it out. It just started to add up. It almost made me understand, which I know to be true, but in the early days, it made me understand that, oh, I get it. By dealing with my spirituality, humanity is something that is subordinate to it. What I think now, because of my ego, that my humanity is something I control my spirituality with. But your spirituality truly controls your humanity. You were just duped into thinking it's the other way around, that your humanity is the thing you need to work on. So when people tell you about crypto and all of this metaverse and all these business moves, you're really doing things that ultimately, even if you follow through, you may score, but because you ignored your spirituality, other fires will emerge within the realm of the score that you may have just had working with your whole rationale system of doing work. So it's not to say your rationale system doesn't work, but you always know there's more problems and problems and problems and let's say this, unrest in your head because you haven't dealt with spiritual matters. So you have to be able to deal with spiritual matters, which means you must have a one-on-one with the darkness in you. You must have a one-on-one with the silence in you. You must have that conversation with the part of you that speaks quietly. We also call that intuition. that intuition is only intuition. The Shakti ladies have now emerged. Hello, my queen. Sister, love your hair. What you got going on? Nice. At least it's looking good. Looking good on that camera, sis. Looking good on the camera. All right, so where was I at?
You was flowing, brother. You was
Yeah,
flowing.
that doesn't help the flow. I assume it was a flow, but we're trying to get back to that flow. All right,
about the intuition.
Okay, the intuition, right? Perfect. The intuition is actually something that has been regulated down to the comatose state of what you truly are, because we have ignored that part of us and listened to the ego to guide us. It has been regulated, or now emerges, or still exists in its sleeping state as intuition, which is nothing wrong with it. But we need more than just that moment of something told me. We need that something to be a little bit more detailed, specific, and guide us beforehand. So if we turn our attention towards that spirituality, towards that darkness, towards that silent part of us, or that whispering part of us, that whisper turns into full-blown guidance, conversation, and it manages a lot of your mind, and it manages a lot of your human action. Therefore, I find I don't put out too many fires. You're still having a human experience. Shit is going to happen, but the way shit happens is much different. And my interpretation of the doo-doo that does happen is much different from when I was a young 90s nigga trying to make rap records or whatever versus now. And to have that power, to have that control, that emotional control, you must probe inside and find out things about your true self and be honest. Each one of us has low self-esteem thoughts about ourselves, lack of confidence, things that we say all the time. But we try to tell ourselves positive things to move forward, or to to be comfortable as we get shit done. But the problem is we start to believe them ourselves. We first do it to make others believe that we're confident in a situation, that we don't have a problem, or we're not cuckoo about a situation. We do it to believe others. Guys, we have to be tougher sometimes in our neighborhood than we really actually want to be, depending on how hard the neighborhood. I grew up in a hard neighborhood. Truthfully, I'd rather just come outside and say hi to everybody, and probably everybody would. But ain't nobody doing that shit. What's up, nigga? What up, nigga? Everybody's greeting each other like they're showing each other. It's all a performance. Yeah, but the difference is, when I go home, do I still believe while I'm sitting by myself, I'm that thug? And most people have to do that. They have to create a persona so real on the street. But the problem is they don't know how to take it off when they get home, to be honest with themselves. And spirituality is about honesty. So we've created such a persona, even if it's not a thug, it's the corporate persona. That's why these women are sucking their teeth at Hank with dreads, because he's against the corporate persona. So that's like a punk in the street. Because if they have a certain code, like there's a code of the street, and I come out with motherfucking jellies on, my ass deserves an ass whipping if I'm in the streets. But if I'm a young lady such as yourselves, and y'all go to the beach and you have a pair of jellies on, right on time, ain't nobody gonna stop you. Hank has dreads and he's laying on the beach in Jamaica. I bet you they fuck that. I bet you them corporate women's will fuck them. Oh, they down there, they getting away from their man is getting them sick, and there go Uncle Hank laying on the beach with his barbiturates.
Funny that you mentioned this, Panic. You funny, brother. You funny.
I was waiting.
You just triggered a
What are you
thought.
going ahead? Look at these. Look at your hair. Look at them dreads. Yeah, you liking my hair? My name is Uncle Hank.
Yo, listen to this.
You know,
Yo, Brother Panic, Salam, Salika, family, the ones who seem to be drawn to crystals are literally like they hang out by the liquor store. They're the dealers over here in Crown Heights. They drawn to crystals, man. I'm gifting them crystals, and it's like they must have some kind of genetic memory because the crystals are pulling them in, man. That's all.
Oh yeah. People, I always seen people do remember, but I'll go as far as this. I'm no longer satisfied, Uncle Hank, with us having genetic memory, because the genetic memory is what held us down. But what I'm trying to say is this is our time. So they're supposed to have physical memory to where they can make the genetics reign supreme. Because if we have genetic memory, that means our genetics are not reign supreme. That means our genetics are where? In the state of intuition. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. We're in this perpetual state of intuition, which is that small voice, gas drawers, what up? That small voice inside of us that keeps telling us shit, where this, even the guy at the liquor store can sit there and go, oh, brother, man, I seen one of these. This is powerful, brother. Oh, man, yeah. Where you get something like this, man? I could feel it. I could feel it. And you doing all of this shit, but that's just his intuition. You know what I'm saying? And how do we get past that, where they're going, fuck, I could feel it. I can build something with this. Fuck, I can feel it with this. I know I can change my reality with this. Imagine if he said that. Thank you for this, brother. I can change my reality and the reality of others with it. Because you can. Because this has changed the reality of the world. This silicone is what they use in computer processors. You niggas are watching this show today because of these. Silicon Valley is where they used to dig for these, and they took it over to put silicone in your processors. So when a nigga says, like, the white man took our crystal system and said, I could change the world by piezoelectronics, the rhythm that's in this crystal that exists in every crystal that's measurable. That's why they put these in quartz watches, quartz crystals, because of piezoelectronics, a pulse, a heartbeat that all of these have, a rhythm, an energy signature that is unbreakable. That's why quartz watches never skip a beat, because they're using piezoelectronics. The pulse or the rhythm of your computer. Oh, my computer is such and such megahertz, gigahertz, comes from the piezoelectronics of your crystal. So when the nigga picks it up and says, I can build a fucking better computer with it, then I'm satisfied. But if a nigga's at the store going, yeah, man, this is beautiful. I feel the power in it. Yeah, I'm going to hold this, man. Should I put it in my pocket? Put it in hot water? Bury it? Fuck all of that. That's baby shit that I think we should be doing more. I'm no longer satisfied with that.
Panic, I want to. If they put it in your face instead of saying Silicon Valley family, what Panic just said, if they called it Crystal Valley.
You were right.
What would happen if they called it Crystal Valley? That's crystal technology in your face.
In your face. They tell you in your face where the crystal cities were. Little Rock, Arkansas. Yep. Little Rock. Yep. What's a Little Rock? This right here. You know they have nothing but dig sites and hot springs out in Little Rock? That's what Little Rock is. When I went to Little Rock, all them niggas had was Little Rock. And they fucked them niggas up. Every 2 stories, some lady was telling me about a goddamn hysterectomy. I ain't gonna front. They got a lot of problems out in Arkansas. But each one of them hold that shit down with crystals. Each one of them hold that shit down with this shit. Matter of fact, where's my cluster at? Because I love that cluster. It's actually from Little Rock. My desk blew up, so I moved a lot of shit. My cluster should be around here somewhere. Either way, I'll find it. Probably moved it in the room.
I got one. You want me to pull it up?
No, it was actually one from Little Rock. I was just wondering.
Oh, okay. I got a big one, man, that people try to read and they can't figure out how old it is. It looked like a giant football, double tongue.
Oh, that's hot. We need to see that anyway. We should just see that anyway, if you got it handy.
Yeah, let me go get that.
Okay. But yeah, Little Rock, Arkansas is because of the Little Rock.
Come on.
And it is absolutely
positive. Oh, you're not in the studio. You went to the wrong link. Let me send you the link again.
And they
the wrong link, darling. Hold on.
They devastate. Like I can see they literally actively attack. I'm looking for that cluster, maybe in the room. They actively attack those people out there. And these people are actually surviving or fighting because all of them have the abundance of crystals that they have. You know what I'm saying? So like, and I can see this, what they knew to do or get back at them is because of, like you said, that genetic memory. But again, I want to get past this genetic memory aspect based upon expanding our intuition to actual active memory. So to be able to go into our genetics and use that memory or that information in our DNA, because that's what genetic memory is, to actually serve us to power now. So your first step in doing any of this is meditation. Your first step in any of this is meditation. So the first thing we'll talk about, which is so routine, is that most people don't think that they're actually meditating when they are meditating. And you also think you need to get in that, hand straight down, with fingers touching your tips in the lotus position. You do not have to do that to meditate. If you are comfortable doing that and you could find Zen in that position, then so be it. That position is actually a position from an older time. Any positions that we do are connected to a frequency. Hieroglyphs are a position. Dance moves that we do are position. Clothing that we wear is an angle, is a cut. Haircuts that we get are angles and cuts. All of those information lines up with cosmic geometry. We call them trends, but we are actually lining up. We get that information generally through the sun. So the sun transmutes cosmic light into what we call sunlight, which is still cosmic light, but it is transformed into a language we understand through the sun down here. How do you know? Because if the sun is the most abundant source of light, why would space be dark? It's only light down here. Because the sun hits the atmosphere and it turns into a different conversation. In that sunlight is information. That's why that information hits black people's skin and you turn darker because the melanin is coming to the top because the melanin is actually receiving a message from the sun. That message is usually lining you up with trends, slang, that's hairstyles. All of these are angles and hieroglyphs in which you receive information. So now spirituality, you still stay in certain postures to receive information. Those things still work and you still can pull light while you meditate, but you don't have to do that because these things change just like trends change. These things change just like your disposition change. So why are you doing the same moves when your shit changed. Now we understand that you're opening certain things in your body. So understand that, and understand if you need that, none of that does not work. It absolutely works. But you don't want to get into the mentality that it's the only way it works. It's not the only way it works. Because if you have to focus on hand postures, how could you leave in your mind? The object of meditation is to leave consciousness and to leave thought. So if you have to, so breathing is another thing that comes up. Some people breathe, and some people swear the breath is really the only way you can alter your consciousness through meditation. You have to see for yourself. Breathing doesn't do it for me. Focusing on breathing, counting in numbers means I'm focusing on breathing, counting in numbers. I can close my eyes and escape this motherfucker easy. And that just takes time. And that has nothing to do with breathing or hand postures or the posture I sit in. I found that to be absolutely false for leaving. Absolutely false. So there are those who swear by that, postures and breathing and techniques that they've just read in books. Sure. Do they work? Sure. So it's not about not working or working, is how you need to work that matters. And most people are working off of what they think they have to do. This is a training that you learned in public school. This is white people thinking that there's only one way to figure shit out. 3 times 3 is 9, and that's just the story. You need to know that. But with this stuff, it's not as absolute. There's absolutely many ways to get in, many ways to light. There's no right or wrong. There was no such thing as the debate in these old times. It was only about results. So the debate would be the results. Know what I'm saying? Somebody said, "Are we having a group meditation?" No, we don't need to do all of that. This is not a production of West Side Story. You get what I'm saying? This is some shit you need to learn and do for yourself. Group meditations look fun and they work, but maybe in a certain type of group, but that's not necessarily happening or necessary today. That crystal is off the hook too, Uncle Hank.
That's the size of my hand in front of it.
Yeah, that's tight.
It's a football.
That's crystal. This shit is nice. So postures and all of that, you don't have to keep them in the chokehold. There's many things you could do, but first you need to know what you're doing. And let's start with this story. And Brother Bobby Hemmett used to tell it as well. The Beatles found them a guru, and they were meditating with this guru and this famous guru. And Ringo, the dumb Beatle, would say, listen, each time I close my eyes, all of these songs start popping in my head. I can't focus. All of these songs. And the guru said, "What, nigga? That's the fucking point." But he's like, but it's happening after 2 and 3 minutes of me closing my eyes. So fucking what? Because he expected that he's supposed to go through this long journey and didn't know what the guru's like, "You fucking asshole, get up with a pen. Write this shit down. This is the point." Because for him, it only took moments for him to get in the zone. And not only that, his subconscious was giving him everything he wanted. What you call intuition is now having a full-blown conversation with him, giving him songs to write that will change his reality now, to help his humanity now. So more than his intuition, "Oh, don't do it, go eat a pizza," and all of that bullshit, it was able to give him songs. And he was able to get it like this. So there's no time limit. There's no anything. You just got to know what you're going for. You got to know what to expect and how to expect it from your mind. We don't know the subtle conversation anymore that our mind has to really understand that we are in a meditative state. We all can go into meditative states. Meditative states scientifically is called alpha state. You are walking around in beta state. Sleep states are delta and gamma, and another relaxation state is theta. But alpha is right under beta. Beta is what you're using right now to be awake, to be aware, to be thinking. Right under beta is alpha. That's your meditative state. That is considered the state of the subconscious mind. When you're meditating, you're trying to either enter into the subconscious mind or receive from the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is where your intuition comes from. The subconscious mind is where your spirituality comes from. And the subconscious mind from the external world is what you use to program your reality. You program through 3 ways, but only 2 we would use: trauma, repetition, and symbols. We don't use the trauma, but trauma is used to change your reality. You see a man beating a woman all your life, 9 times out of 10, you're a beater. You've been a woman seeing your moms get beaten all her life. You're the one saying, well, I made him mad. I shouldn't have opened my big mouth. I know not to do that. He only does that when he does this on Christmas. You start making excuses for it because you think it's a reality because it's been trained and programmed into the subconscious. Therefore, that's how it became a reality. So the conscious person is now taking the reins of reprogramming his subconscious mind, starting with meditation, but ultimately reprogramming the subconscious mind, understanding that the powers that rule you use those techniques of trauma, repetition, and symbols to program you. So the African used trauma through scarring, through rites of passage, through initiation, through any shock-like system of fear to say, you are now a woman, you are now a warrior, you now can hunt, you now can have your own house, because what they create in your mind is a before and an after through these particular controlled traumatic events. So now that we don't have no African tribes to do that shit with, we're not using trauma or not a traumatic system. Jumping you in a gang is a traumatic system that gets you a before and an after. So you know, filling out paperwork for the PTA and getting approved in your badge in the mail creates a before and after, not necessarily trauma, but a before and after. So these type of things are what they try to create in you, white people as well, because they have a fake initiation system. That's why at age 18, you don't feel like you're ready to move out the house, even though you're legal age, because there's nothing that happened that gives you a before and after. They try to line it up with your graduation by moving your tassel to the hat, but that's not. Now, symbols, of course, anything that's an icon, anything that they're selling to you is a symbol, and they use those symbols along with taglines and jingles, which deal with repetition to control and program you. Like I said, the ABCs are a form of repetition that a sung to you, the hook on the song, repetition. All of this is programming. And the conscious person, what they need to learn and need to understand is how to take over programming through their own mantras, through their own meditation, through their own self-realization. So you are trying to accomplish alpha state in your meditation. You are trying to stay in alpha state. And since it was so close to your thinking mind, and you're inundated constantly with imagery and issues, it's hard to stay in that moment. And not to mention, most people don't even know the moment they're trying to stay in or the feeling of alpha state. Now, you go into alpha state all the time. Some of you niggas are going into alpha state right now. You know what I'm saying? As I'm watching your face. when you watch TV and zone out, you're in alpha state. When you're driving on the highway and zone out, we've all talked about that, is alpha state. But here's another little known thing about alpha state. Each speaker wants you to be in alpha state, and there's a way to do that. It's real easy. All they first have to do is exactly what I'm doing now. See how I changed the pace of how I'm talking? What I'm doing now is talking to the rhythm of your heart. So when you talk to the rhythm of someone's heart, you start saying you start doing what they call neuro-linguistic programming, which is pacing and I forgot the other word. Well, I'll describe it. It's giving a command while you're giving things that are true. So you say things that are true. We are here. We are on Uncle Hank's show. All these beautiful ladies in front of me. And we're going to get down to the bottom of some panic shit today. We know we came a long way. We've been through a lot of shit. Each one of us here has a story to tell. And I'm going to tell that story for you today. So what I'm doing is I'm saying a bunch of true stuff. We are here. Each one of us has a story to tell. What I did was appease your ego by making you an individual. Each one of us has a story to tell. But here's what I said, though. I'm going to tell your story today. So now what I just did was subliminally took control of what you have to say in your own mind. So Al Sharpton and all the rest of them, if you watch their speeches, they're using neuro-linguistic programming. Preachers use neuro-linguistic programming. You're just in the moment. They just talk to you at a certain pace to talk to your heart rhythm, and you go into alpha state. Why? Because I already told you, alpha state is when your subconscious mind is open and you can. That's where the best programming is happening, because the conscious mind, just like with the drugs that I told you that you can take, that shuts down the conscious mind. Your meditative state is supposed to do the same thing. The more you meditate, that's why you'll never hear me rely on any of these, because I've learned to shut down the beta state long enough to program whatever I want or to receive whatever message I need from the subconscious, uninhibited by my own ego. It won't filter through my ego system. The only system I can tell you it filters through that gets more clear is what you guys call intuition. It becomes more clear and you're staying in that state to get more answers or to program more reality. So the key is to how to stay into that state of alpha longer and to know what to expect. So when I first understood or heard about it, again, and I'm one up on the frequency. My father taught me how to meditate at age 9 or 10, maybe. And he taught a technique, which I'm said before, and I'll say again. The first thing he did was, when you meditate, is to close your eyes and look towards the top of your head. That's the first thing he said. Now, what I found out later in life, when you look towards the top of your head, you're cutting your eyes off to the world, and you're putting your energy into your third eye. Your third eye is inside of you because it actually looks down towards your heart. It's looking for inner light here. And if you haven't done work in your heart chakra, it's not going to see the light here. You'll have an experience like the barbiturate, because everyone has the mechanism. But to truly find your answers, your true brain comes from your heart. So you have to have that emotional system right. You can't do that in this current state we're in. That's something personal, and we can get into that shit too. But when you look towards the top, you activate this. Now, if you ever notice, if you look towards the light bulb and close your eyes, you'll see the light that you just seen. You'll see the trail of the light. Even if I turn to the other side of the room, even still, I was just looking at the light bulbs, I could still see the light in it, but it actually starts to fade away. So whatever light you look at, it'll fade away. So when you turn towards the top, you're fading away the lights of this world, and then some new images or new lights start to turn on. And actually, you're on your path to getting light from your heart. But whatever question you're answering, you'll notice that light, it'll be demons, it'll be evil faces, it'll be weird faces. Because what most people do when they see them over the years, they said they'll see these faces and they think they're doing something that is dangerous. And that's when they'll come out of it. But those fearful faces were put there by you, your DNA, because you're opening things in your own DNA that if you're not ready for, we're going to turn away. If you are ready for it, that's called facing your demons. So the blockages that you put in front of you emotionally before you reach this Zen understanding. Understand this, you are already that Zen being. You created a personage or this human being to in a fucked up flawed situation to find one thing, the Zen. So remember how they tell you it's not the destination, it's the path? Because you are already from Zamunda. You are already the Prince Akeem. You understand? When you come to Queens to find love, you're trying to find an aspect through your dysfunction that brings you back to your Zen in Zamunda. Fuck Wakanda. Zamunda forever, nigga. You're trying to get back to Zamunda. You understand what I'm saying? So you're trying to find the peace that you already know through the chaos that you created. So when you meditate, you're actually looking at the spiritual aspects of the chaos you created in that area to block you from the aspect of Zen you're going for. So you'll see the monsters when you're looking at the top, and then those monsters will start to turn into beautiful angels, hieroglyphs, and all that other sexy shit that you put in your bathroom wall and in your dining room wall. The black woman with the pregnant world and the black man holding up the black baby. All that sexy shit that you just like starts to come into play. And that means you went through the darkness to find that light. That's the constant process that you should be doing, or one of the processes that you should be doing when you're looking for answers within. This is looking towards first your intuition and what your heart is saying, what your two brain is saying, what your heart is saying, fool. What your heart is saying for all you West Coast niggas. This shit is in your heart, homie. It's in your heart. You know what I'm saying? So when you look towards this, and this is where you're gonna find kind of your true purpose. But it'll be a purpose not to be like a butcher, a baker, or a candlestick, or I want to heal people. That's your ego. Or I want to do this for black people. You fucking clown. This shit is about yourself. So what you'll find is things that are for you, not for the black community. If you find things for the black community, then you're just talking to your ego. You're not here to save anybody but your own funky black ass. Let it be known. You're not here to save your dirty ass kids because they dirty and they ain't gonna be shit and they're gonna be living in your basement forever. I know you have a lot of hopes, but then you're gonna move that hope to your fucked up grandkids and they ain't gonna be shit neither, but some motherfuckers who just can't stop looking at their phone. Get over it. Get over it. Everyone's here. They are gods. And though they chose you as a parent, you're not the owner of them. And just like you have a fucking path and your Christian ass parents can't tell you shit to do, your Hotep ass can't tell their asses what to do neither. Everyone's here to do what they came to do. And by goddamn, why step in her path if she came here to be a stripper? And I got daughters too. I know how it is. But that's how deep everybody is. Panic, everyone's path is their path. And we all came to do what we came to do. Next month, their daughter wants to be a stripper. Panic. We need to formulate some magic because the black community is going downhill really fast. Like, well, I thought that was her path. You know what I'm saying? So we have to, so this is all ego shit, right? If I'm right or wrong, it doesn't matter. It's not, none of what I'm saying applies to what you're doing. And that's really the point. So if you want to save strippers or you want to make strippers, nothing to do with this. This is an inner journey, and the answers should be personal that you get out of it. And a personal thing that even no one, you don't even have to speak to mouth that you know about yourself. You know things that you feel are your shortcomings, whether they're factual or manufactured by dysfunction. Either way, you have to deal with it. And you don't necessarily have to announce it to anybody. But this is for you. It's an inner journey, not an inner journey to the black community, motherfucker. It's an inner journey on your black ass. So you'll see most people, I meditated and I came up with the name Ufgafanufu, Umlafufu, the spirit dancer. Like, oh shit, what do? Nothing. That's just what they told me. They, whoever the fuck they are. That's just what they told me I should name myself. Who the fuck are they? See, when you do these meditations, you understand yourself. There's no more they, us, and them, and fucking aliens. You know or even worse, the universe told me. That is nonsense. Nonsense. There's no such thing out there called the universe. There's energies in the universe. The universe means one song. And if you niggas ain't going inside, you're not singing the one song that connects you to the universe. Don't get me started, niggas. Don't you make me. Black Jesus, fix it. Black Jesus, fix it. Fix it, Black Jesus. Let me tell you, you can't save the community, only yourself. So when you meditate, you got to think of answers that you need. Most people go in and they think they're fighting for a cause. Nigga, that cause is made up by Martin Luther King and others to keep your ass occupied. Just like you think you know about Black Lives Matter, it's the same civil rights shit. And it's the same we must save the black community shit. It never was like that. We always knew we had to be individuals, self-a-savior to save all. So we was creating a town right now. Let's be real. And everybody in this room had to participate in the town. It'd be a bunch of niggas, a bunch of customers, and no servicemen. All y'all niggas would sell is fucking shea butter, fucking crystals and onks made out of copper, t-shirts, fucking cabbage drinks with fucking probiotics in it, and that's it. Nobody's shoeing horses. Nobody's putting up electricity. Nothing. So when we got out, we had skills, and towns came together because everyone knew or had a skill. Nobody has skill anymore. They educated the skill out of your ass. You don't even know the war that you're in. They educated you into doing nothing but thinking how you could save black people. That's not the key. The key is finding who and what you are, therefore able to have some to even participate to make a network or a community. You can't be in a community if you're communing over just your misery. So it's not a community, it's a commiseration. You'll get together and just talk about the bullshit that you're going through. Nobody has nothing to add to nothing. That's reality. And if you can't take that reality, you're not ready to take this shit. Because you have to answer that reality in you when you close your fucking eyes. And that's what's real. And let me say this, I don't want the ladies to think I'm yelling at them because I know it looks like that kind of way. This is a generalized rant and yell. So none of the ladies, this ain't about the ladies in the room, guys. Y'all, we need to be clear on that. I'm talking to y'all funky niggas out there and typing. Not my sweet Shakti sisters. Not my sweet Shakti ladies. This is a generalized rant. I rant for nothing. So you have to face in you that this shit is not real. It's something that you want, but your want and the reality may not be lining up. So to be a conscious person for real, to turn that work inwardly, you have to face the truth. So let me go back and tell you, after I was about age 16, we knew we moved to the Bronx, still with my father. And I asked him, I said, yo, let me tell you something, man. I've been meditating all this fucking time and ain't shit happening. You said I would be smarter or something like that. And I don't feel smarter. And he almost dropped the cigarette. What, nigga? You been meditating all this time? I said, yeah, something I just kept doing since he taught us. He didn't know that I just kept up with it. And I was like, yeah, I don't feel smart. He said, well, you're expecting too much. He said, you're expecting like the physical smart, like of school, just like most everybody else would. You know, like I'm supposed to be 5 + 4 - 7 = 2. Take over, you know, and I'm supposed to write this complicated math equation on the book. You ever see that bullshit in movies? They do that shit. And see, that's another mind control thing. In every movie, they write this big math equation on the board. And the nigga be looking at it. No, then he erase a part of it. X, Y, Z, parentheses, Y, X, question mark, Y, T, Y, Z. You're like, ooh, he's deep. Hell, fucking bullshit ain't shit. That shit don't build universes. That's how white people try to logically understand us. That's like writing that equation down to doing the WAP or some shit. Niggas just start dancing. If you see a dance floor, niggas on the dance floor doing the George Jefferson, you like, oh shit, I'm doing the George Jefferson with these bitches. I don't need the equation to do that. So they got us thinking an equation, and that's not really who we are. Like your child mind is logic. That's what you came to understand as a child. My granddaughter is trying to understand logic, how to deal with this world. Once you understand logic, once she starts going outside by herself, she's really past logic. But we stayed in a world of logic because white people have shaped the world into their ceiling, and their ceiling cannot go past logic. So they made Albert Einstein the poster boy for all things to try to live up to. But he's actually at the floor. All he ever talked about was the next level, was imagination for them. Imagination is the key. Imagination is the greatest thing you can ever accomplish in the universe. Because he knew niggas got the greatest imagination going. Look how we survived in the ghetto. Look what we turned food into. That's from imagination. That's not from logic and equations on the board. How to turn the last part of that corn into grits, nigga. You feel me? How to make a biscuit for 15 cents, nigga. Like, nigga, that's us. And that's not from logic. That's from imagination and visualization. That's who you are. And we have put those aspects of us to sleep. They gave us this motherfucking bullshit story in school. When you're little, stop looking out the window, pay attention, sit up straight. And then they put on everyone's report card, regardless of what you were doing. Daydreams too much. Daydreams too much. Snap out of it. Look up straight. Fold your hands. Pledge allegiance. Stand up. Sit down. Buzzer. And they're keeping you at a young age from freeing your mind through your visualization and imagination. When you was in Africa and they was teaching you, they told you in story form because it forces you to imagine. It forces you to imagine. If I say I was going to the store the other day, I fell off my bike, you guys are automatically thinking about it in real time, meaning you are imagining me on my bike as I tell a story, falling off of it. Not when you read a math equation. You can't imagine. It's telling you trying to memorize. That's a difference. So the African told you the story about the tree, the history of the tree, the science of the tree, the math of the tree. You ate from the tree. You've been eating from the tree. You picking the fruit from the tree. You climbing from the tree. You doing all of that shit to understand this tree holistically. Because we're putting it into our psyche, into our imagination. We have a memory of climbing that tree. I remember damn near every tree we used to climb in the hood when me and Dane was just young boys running wild in the ghetto. I remember almost every tree and everything we fucked with because it's a part of my imagination and much more powerful than anything I remember in math. But that's not how white minds work. They are, for them to have an imagination or a visualization experience, it must be extreme. That's why they jump off of mountains, jump out of airplanes. Even though we started bungee jumping through ritual, now it's fun for them. You ever go to Six Flags and there's those rides off in the sunset with cranes and shit? Motherfuckers just flying around on cranes. I'm like, what the fuck? Why don't you just stay? Ain't this enough? The Superman? The Roller Shack coaster? That's not enough. They got cranes and niggas just on cranes flying around. So they need that because that's where they're actually deficient. Because that's your imagination is what gets you out of here. That imagination is connected to your meditative force. Your ability to imaginate to power becomes when you're able to stay, you're able to create and go into a Zen mode easier. Now, when I told my father I still meditated, I said the only thing that happens is when I close my eyes, it looks like the scene is jumping back and forth in front of me. And I said I could get there any second. It's to a point where I could stay in alpha and still have a conversation. In my most meditative mind, I know how to get there and zone out easy. I could be yelling at you niggas in 1 minute and gone the next. And I told him I could do this. He was like, that's incredible. That's alpha state. He said, that's the goal of meditating, to try to get an alpha state and stay there. I said, well, for all of these years, that's all I've been doing because I didn't know what else to do. It was just there. So I've always, after that, understood what I was going for. He then started telling me about some out-of-body experience he's had. He told me some shit that was key that might have changed the way I thought about meditation, period, which was this. In New York, especially in the 80s, which this was, the trains were fucking incredibly noisy. They're still noisy now, but they're almost zen compared to that fucking aluminum can that used to be on the tracks before. Now they got shocks and they factor that in. People used to actually wear earplugs on the train. Some were louder than others. They screeched, they made noise. So what he was told me was, instead of trying to meditate and block that out, meditate to that sound, which is probably some of the most powerful advice he gave. He said he had out-of-body experience meditating to the sound of the train. Hank will attest to how noisy that shit was in the 80s, especially. It's like, it was unbearable. But what it did was I started practicing on keeping the mind still. You understand what I'm saying? In chaos. Perfect. When people whisper around me, I can't meditate. That's the only thing that takes me out of it. When somebody's like, yeah, we need to do this. But it could be a whole room full of motherfuckers talking. I can zone out. It's crazy. Because that's what I practice on the New York City train. Zoning out to a bunch of motherfuckers. Now, what it turns out is the train is the subconscious song that you hear constantly that you don't pay attention to. In fact, in New York, you train yourself not to pay attention to it. In Queensbridge, there's a bridge over us, and you hear 24 hours cars going over the bridge. Zoom, doom, 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 zoom, doom. It's so subtle that you can actually fall asleep to the shit. It's like beautiful in Queensbridge. And in fact, when I been moved out of Queensbridge years later in the 2000s, started fucking somebody from the hood and spent the night back in the hood, I was like, God damn, this is the best goddamn fucking sleep I've had in years, because it's the subconscious song that was playing since I was born in the background. So when I decided to meditate to the sounds of New York, which is the subconscious song, motherfucker. Now, I don't know where you live, because most people got to drive to where they live and things like that. So it's not necessary. But for a city person, that was a good one, because what it did was allow me to stay in a moment through chaos all around me. I'm able to read through chaos, but that's a New York mind. Now, so Alpha State is the party. Alpha State is the party. So remember, you got to close your eyes and think of this. Now, what he told us when he was 8, I've always given this meditation out, is think of an apple. And with my mind, use all 5 senses, or experience that apple in my mind with all 5 senses. The more detail, the better. So what I'm doing now is mixing my earthly reality, or what I've become through my earthly reality, just an entity of 5 major senses, and to turn those inward and use my imagination to experience. So now what I'm doing is exercising the imagination, number 1, and number 2, taking what I know from earth and now mixing it with my imagination. Therefore, what I do on earth through the 5 senses is now starting to connect with my imagination. That's the key. Remember, your imagination is what you're trying to strengthen. Your imagination is really your superpower. You have to be able to see it in your head before anything can manifest. That's why you're the greatest inventors. So instead of taking them with your pride and say, oh, we invented the light bulb, the peacock feather, Darth Vader's hat, we invented pencil erasers, we invented scissors, we invented incisors, which are scissors backwards, the Sharpie, that's us. Instead of doing all of that bullshit with your pride, start understanding there's a process that we use spiritually to invent. And I'm telling you it now. These are people who are still able to imagine to a level of where they make manifest. Understand where your imagination and your creativity comes in, with paying your phone bill, your mortgage, dealing with your kids, your job. So all your day-to-day crap is still connected to this shit that I'm telling you. This is not something you do as a fucking hobby. This is something you do to get your shit straight in every area of doo-doo that you deal with down here. If you lead with this mentality, if you lead with this is your first steps of spirituality. This is you starting to take a spiritual control over your reality and put it in your hands and in your power how your destiny goes. You got to go inside. You got to be honest. You got to stop saying the black community, and you got to start saying yourself. Ironically, the more light you gain, the more you actually will help people around you. People put up with your shit right now. People will want to hear your shit when you have that light. So many regular humans come up to me to ask me shit. I talk to them more than conscious people almost. Well, because everyone wants to know the meaning of life. It's just how much you trample on Christianity when you talk. See, I'm sophisticated enough to know how to speak this without bringing Jesus into the equation and still speak to each mind. Before, I used to make niggas cry. I used to get off on that kind of shit. Ain't no Jesus. What you mean? Well, let me break this shit down. But now, who cares? I'll just tell them what they need to know, because most people want to know this. Most people are aware of, this is not working for black people. Nothing they try. After all that Cosby Show and Different World and this big influx of niggas going to college, still meant nothing. They were recruiting for the boule, but job-wise, nothing. They're even making commercials now where the electrician said, oh, I remember this guy, Billy Johnson. He went to college. Yup. And I went to trade school and became an electrician. Now I'm turning off his fucking electricity. And what they're trying to make a point of out here in the South is that getting a skill is much more viable now than college. College is over. Now they're finding all you're left with is a bill. While you go to trade school, you're actually doing things that people need. And that's always been the balance. Now that balance is in that favor. It's the system is falling apart. And their system is falling apart because yours is coming together. We just don't know how. I'm telling you how now. People, even though I say imagination, no one believes it, because you've been mind controlled for years and years, that the imagination is something that belongs to a kid, something that's childish. That's the trick. That's what they told you. Imagination is your superpower. You've seen enough superhero movies. They go to the well and drink the water. The water is your imagination. They have the secret ring. The secret ring is your imagination. They come from Krypton. Krypton is your imagination. Come from Wakanda. Wakanda is your imagination. Shit, Wakanda came out the imagination of a nigga. And out of that imagination of a nigga, we want that so bad. Yeah, that's a good one, actually. You see how niggas went Wakanda crazy? Even conscious people of a place that don't even exist. You would really believe. I seen a nigga in the store the other day said Wakanda Atlanta. They got Wakanda divisions, nigga. All them niggas Wakanda forever. They was doing all this shit. Conscious niggas or fake ass conscious nigga. Why? First and foremost, it's out of someone's imagination. And while we here, so is fucking Sharknado, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. They made all that shit real, didn't they? Pay attention. It all comes from the imagination. So when he made this out of the imagination, all he did was tap into the psychological need of niggas. They know niggas ain't gonna do shit, but they made a fake ass community with all this technology. You don't even question that there's a 16-year-old bitch running the whole scientific show. And y'all don't say, wait a minute. How the fuck is Wakanda being run by this dumb bitch? I like you, my brother. That bitch is running the show. She going in niggas' DNA and shit. You know what I'm saying? Making all sorts of weapons and suits. Where did she learn this shit? She the only one doing it. Grow up, niggas. That's what y'all want to see. This dumbass little girl. I'm sit your ass down, bitch, and get me some mother. Then they got that nigga with the lip hanging. I get that's the African shit. Well, come on, son. He's at the council. It don't look right. It looks like what we want. And it appeases what we want. It appeases the ego. And that's why they let that shit go. And that's why they let it go twice. That black man who made it think he's doing something for black people. But white people who understand said, why don't we give them a fake Wakanda so they don't make a real one? If we take what's in their imagination about what they want and put it on screen and give it to them, they'll walk around with a Wakanda Atlanta shirt. And that'll satisfy them instead of maybe they going in their minds and saying, wait a minute, I know how to take this crystal and make Wakanda. That's what you said when you made the street light, nigga. That's what you said when you made this lock, nigga. 100 inventions that niggas made. Love to spew all that shit off. Well, why don't you make Wakanda instead of satisfying yourself with what's on TV? And then you see one, they get punked the whole fucking second movie. The whole second movie, they getting punked. Niggas should have got together. They was like, yo, let's take out the surface people. No doubt, nigga. We cannot do that in Wakanda because we are trying to work with them on some shit. We're at the UN trying to get shit done right. You know how we do, son. Like, fuck them bitch-ass niggas. We've been underwater too long. It's time to kill these niggas. They coming down here for the goddamn special shit they got. What's that shit? Antimonium or whatever the fuck they use. We got the special rock. He's like, nigga, let's go kill him. No, we cannot do this. Bullshit, son. I get that they're trying to portray the African as the peaceful person. But they're manipulating you with a false satisfaction. And if they appease you this way on screen, then you'll never appease your own self through the imagination. They're creating or they're imagining things for you. You lazy nigga. You must go in and do it yourself. That's the key to this shit. Or a big key to this shit. It opens up the gateway for you to be whoever you're going to be. This doesn't make you me or do what I do. This is what you must do to find what you're here to do. No one's here. Like I said, we could say this is a whole community. But if we said, now we got land, what could y'all do? Who knows how to farm in this motherfucker? Nobody. But I bet you niggas all got your fucking diplomas. I bet you niggas all got your GEDs, your degrees, your nursing shit, your nursing aid shit, and all the rest of that shit, or you sell Amway. But I bet you if you really literally got 40 acres in a mule, you'll be eating that mule by Tuesday and lost on your own fucking acres. You seen the baby? Anybody see the baby? She was over there by the corn. Well, get the mule. Bitch, we ate the mule. You know what I'm saying? They should have just gave us motherfucking some motherfucking cheese, nigga. We went further with that. The fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? Fix it, Black Jesus. Fix it. So, you close your eyes. You look at the top of your head. And you want to do the apple, move to a banana, maybe a bike. Then you want to start going places. You want to start going to places that are familiar. So let's say your mother's house, the bathroom. But you want to see it from angles you humanly can't see it from. You cannot really look from the ceiling down at when you're standing in your mother's bathroom. But you can in your mind. So that's the kind of things you want to do. You want to also look from where you would stand as a human being through your own eyes. See it in the room as you're there. And then you also want to see it from angles you don't because you can. And the more you're doing this, the more you're trying to get your mind in a singularity. Another way to get your mind in a singularity is to, believe it or not, what I found out was after thinking it was all this Lotus stuff, putting on headphones and zoning out to music. You think you're supposed to have quiet, but that's not necessarily the case. What you're really going for is focus. That's what I found out to be the real trick. Focus is what you want, or keeping a one-track mind. So keeping a one-track mind is easy when you zone out. So driving on a highway, you're really thinking of your thoughts are so far away, you're actually going in alpha state. You couldn't even tell what you were thinking by the time you get home, but if something happened, you were right there. You will be right aware. Same thing when you're zoned out watching TV. You're in alpha state. That's why they actually called it prime time, because you're actually primed for commercials. So when you're zoned down, your guard is down because your beta brain or your ego, your day-to-day beta brain, its job is to do one thing: protect your subconscious mind. It's a player hater. So every new information that you come in that challenges you or challenges your subconscious mind is that challenges your subconscious mind. Who's keep asking for a guided meditation? We'll see. I don't really do that. Maybe you can run one, Hank. And so we'll talk about it before the show is over. So what was I just saying? I can't remember. Anybody remember?
You were talking about prime time.
Prime time. Thank you, sis.
Mm-hmm.
So that was prime for commercial. Let's even go back to show you how mind control works. The first form of entertainment was radio, and they would do these shows on radio. They were doing these daytime shows, and they actually wanted to form the shows around advertising. So the first group of advertisers or advertisees, the first targeted group were women. And on the radio, they created and invented something called the soap opera. It was an opera going on in terms of how they orchestrated the show. Oh, Billy, ding, they breaking shit. But then it would stop. Buy this soap, buy that soap, buy this. Why? Because women stayed home and cleaned the fucking house. The order of the day was men got their check, 50s, and gave it to the women. And the women would give the men a budget. You've seen it on the Honeymooners, which we'll get to. The women gave the men a budget. And because the men, he would bring home the bacon, she would fry it up in the pan. She made and formulated the house and the budget with his check. All he did was had his lunch, come home, had his dinner, talked about his day, went to bed. Now, so she cleaned the house. She was home all day and needed to entertain herself, i.e. the soap opera. Entertainment, and it sold Spick and Span, Top Job, Tide, Mop and Glow, and all the rest of that shit. This soap opera thing kept going. But something else developed called the sitcom as TV came into play. The sitcom sold soaps too. The sitcom created this precedence where the woman was smarter. Y'all not peeping this shit. Alice was smarter than Ralph. Him and Norton was a mess. Trixie and Alice had it together. They switched it around with Lucy and Desi. Lucy was the harebrained one. Desi was the opposite one. But it had to be that way because he was a Cuban. So he couldn't be the stupid one. He couldn't be a stupid Cuban with a white woman. So they changed the dynamic around with I Love Lucy. And then you have, let's get more modern, because all the Leave It to Beavers, the Pops wasn't stupid, and Brady Bunch, the Pops wasn't stupid. They didn't go there. But they did another mind control thing where they made America the perfect way of living through the Brady Bunch, through Leave It to Beaver, and the rest of that. On the other side, where you have like the sitcoms like Everybody Loved Raymond, Raymond's stupid. King of Queens, he's stupid. All the Al Bundy, he's stupid. All the cartoons, Homer, Family Guy, stupid. They want to make the woman smart on the sitcom because she's the purchaser. And remember, all this shit is about commercials. None of this shit is about entertaining you. Seinfeld is winning because of how much commercial revenue he still gets. He gets $250 million a year just off of reruns. And that's before they got into Netflix and all of that. You know what I'm saying? So he cut deals with all of that. Just that's why when Kramer said the nigga shit, you seen who stepped up really quick. Jerry Seinfeld. He wants to apologize. He wants to do it. Jerry didn't know it because that's money. Because just like how they took a lot of Cosby off, except for TV One, they took Cosby all off the air. They could do the same thing for Jerry's show because of Kramer saying nigger. So Jerry stepped up. This is about commercial revenue. And the purchaser, no matter how you like it, is your black asses. They've been targeting you, and all they've been doing is giving your ego like you smart. And then they do one better with black women. They make you the smartest creature in the world, but the last on the line for everything. So you're still fighting for everything while they fucking appease your ego with this shit like Black Girl Magic, and then show you Serena Williams, show you the same motherfucker, show you these motherfuckers that ain't got nothing to do with your ass. The shit you ain't gonna do. Ain't got nothing to do with magic or nothing. Because if they say this is Black Girl Magic, that means black girls don't do magic. Because now you have a definition just like Wakanda. You understand what I'm saying? They playing mind control games with you. This is what the war is. You think is the vaccines and all that shit is later physical shit. It's the mind control. Here's where it comes in when they tell you some shit like this. Oh, you may have long COVID. Shit that don't exist. Yeah. I feel stupid. I guess I got long COVID. And then you taking some bullshit new drug for long COVID. That's the war you in. And it's a money hustle. They're mind controlling you because this shit is about business and money. This is a slave camp and never stop being one. If you think these niggas won the Revolutionary War, you out of your fucking mind. The Redcoats was killing it around the world. You think they came here and had problems with a few niggas? You crazy? They won. And Europe has been old and owned this. This is an annex of Europe, and this is the slave camp of it. This is where mind control is the most rampant. Everyone around the world is going, how them niggas do that? Because you are under supreme mind control. So until you take your mind back, you're not even in the fight. Step one is through the meditation. So once you're able to achieve what you understand to be alpha state, you got to go with it. Don't keep questioning it. That's what we find the most. It's a relaxed state. You've been there before. Just you'll start to notice you'll be in this relaxed state and you'll keep thinking your way out of it. Am I there? Am I there? And then you'll wake up. Thinking is the opposite of what you're doing. So it's hard to unthink. So again, if you're thinking of one subject, the apple, simple, but clever, because you've had it over hundreds and hundreds of times. So you know it. So it's something you can remain focused on with very little effort. All about the apple. See the apple. You'll start to see, I'm thinking about cars, your mortgage, or this or that. It's going to be hard for you to keep on the apple. But you're trying to get your mind to be able to get it into a singularity. Because what it does, it's a chaos being because it's trying to check for everything. That's how your ego works. Give me that. What's this? I need some pizza. Going to eat later. Going to go downstairs. Going to change the thing. Got to change the light bulb. I don't want to get too late. Got to drink some more water. Got to get some more water. Got to do a meditation later. Got to do question and answer. All that shit's on my mind while I'm having one fluid conversation. And a lot of shit is on you. You probably thinking how long you're going to be here. If you're going to eat something later tonight. What's up with work tomorrow? What you're going to wear tomorrow? What the kids are doing if you got kids. What the nigga's doing if you got a nigga. Why the nigga don't listen to Panic and you always do. Whatever the fuck it is. It's all on your mind. And when you meditate, you bring that chaotic mind with you. That chaotic mind is what needs to be shut down or put to the side. So that's what drugs do. For years, until today, I sell a combination herb pack that I've been selling to help quiet the mind. It was something I used to use, and it's an icon now. You can go to my website, Occult Lectures, and get it. I still sell it at a cheap price. It's 9 herbs, all organic, no drugs, that help to relax the chatter in the mind. I've heard many things: sleep, stop smoking, astral traveling, lucid dreaming. Some niggas said it helped them with cancer. Some niggas said he got out of a fucking wheelchair. Nigga, that's a lot of pressure. But I'm missing a whole bunch of shit that it said it has done because it works directly on the pineal. So things like that, if you need help, it depends on where you're at with it. Most people have a problem with chatter. They can't get to quiet their mind. So like I said, the herbs that I have do that. And you may find something or one of your own remedies that do that. I'll give out some books later that may help. But The object is the quietest. So you got to try to think of the one thing. If you're having a problem with that, put on some headphones with some music. You got to get into the song as if either you're at the concert live and you're seeing it unfold live. So you're not trying to think of anything. You're trying to be in the moment of the song. Like you see, whatever you like, Lil Wayne on stage doing it. And the moves he's making, if you are really in the moment, they'll be actually spontaneous and unfolding in your mind. You won't have to think he's going to move his hand, he's going to do that. You're not thinking. He's just doing it. And he's just doing his whatever he does. And or you can see yourself doing it. What it does, yet again, is put you in a moment. And these are moments that usually Black people can stay in. If you could stay in those moments, and then from those two things alone, be able to expand to moments that of your creation, of your imagination, that you can stay in that thought without being disrupted by the mortgage, the thoughts of the kids, the maybe I got to eat later, the this, the that. And see, it's hard to do that if you're breathing. It's hard to do that if you're in a position that you're uncomfortable in. So if you're uncomfortable in these positions, don't sweat it. The lotus that is sitting up, lay down if you got to. Get under the covers. If you go to sleep, so what? Because ultimately, astral traveling is meditating yourself to sleep. So I'd rather people meditate themselves to sleep than fall asleep each night. Because what you're doing is starting to even then take control of your mind as you go deeper into that dream world. This, with meditation, you're trying to control your mind as you go into the first layer of that dream world, which is alpha. Then the next one is theta. You can also do exercises in theta. What is theta or delta? Some shit like that. Theta, I think. Which is the next one, but they have tapes in which they recommend headphones because they do left and right beeps in the air that actually put the brain in theta mode through beeps and sounds. And if you could stay in that meditation, that's an excellent exercise tool because it's actually deeper than alpha. But it actually, if you can stay awake in that moment, is taking your mind deeper while you remain conscious. So that's a excellent tool. One of the theta tapes. That's why you lose, even if they're free on YouTube, you're going to have to download them so you can eventually hear them in the headphones, or have a system of left and right that is clear, where, because you're going to hear boo, boo, but they recommend headphones all the time for any theta meditations. And theta is deeper than the alpha, so it'll bring your brain there. And what you're trying to do is stay, not sleep in that moment. So get a good night's sleep before you do a theta. And you want to try to stay conscious, but not thinking in the mode. So aware that I am Brother Panic and I am in this place. And as I go into theta, I want to stay in that moment and zone out and feel the feelings and the thoughts, but be an observer of them, not a controller of them. When you're in beta mode, you're in the control, or you feel in control of your thoughts through your ego. When you're in alpha, you are out of control, but you're right at that point of control, which makes you aware of what you're getting from alpha state. So that's why when you drive on the highway in alpha state, if a car comes down to nowhere, you're right there because your consciousness is right there. That's why you zone out on the TV show, somebody say panic, and you're right there because you're right on that edge when you meditate. So again, theta takes you deeper, but alpha, you want to be able to stay in that moment. If somebody says panic, I can hear them and I'm able to separate it at this point. So I could have a whole conversation with you in alpha state. I did a whole class one time in alpha state. This shit is on tape. Gone. Blah, 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 blah. And I just, after a while, I said, let me see if I can stay here and do this shit. Whole class. I was able to split my consciousness and still stay zoned the fuck out. You don't zone like when you're quiet and you're all there, but I'm still able to split the two. Like I said, when you get towards the more you do, only just what I told you so far, the better you get. You got to look at it like you're doing push-ups. You get stronger and stronger, and your prowess starts to expand more and more. Your ability to tap in easily and deeper and come up with more complex answers become easier and easier. That's just how it works. So you name them, I've talked to them, can talk to them. There's no trance, there's no nothing. We can talk to anybody right now if you want. James Brown, Jimi Hendrix, all of them. I can feel their energy whenever I call them. There was a time where I had to do ritual and meditation. No longer. It's like the more you do it, the more you're turning on the lights. And spirit only sees light. Why most people can't get any protection? Because they don't have enough light. The only light that they have, their relatives and ancestors can see. So the little protection that they have is due to the people who are connected to them, who actually look for light in them because they had hope in them when they were alive. But now, when you turn on those lights, you're connecting with like masters who also have light. Bruce Lee has light. To see you, you need a certain amount of light. When I was turning on those lights through meditations and going within, because those lights get turned on because they were turned off in you as a human. So they're in you. You have to turn those lights on in you. And when those spirits see you, they were seeing me like, oh nigga, there you go. We ain't see you in a long time. Because this on earth is the actual death. You are dead now. You're alive on the other side. So when you turn on these lights and these spirits start to see you, these masters who actually came here as well, because that's the ones you're going to connect with, Jimi Hendrix, Bob Marley, my girl, Phyllis Hyman, badass, Eartha Kitt, James Brown, Rufus Thomas. I'm just trying to remember some of the motherfuckers. Niggas kept begging me to talk to Michael Clark Duncan. I didn't pay attention to that. Whitney Houston, the daughter. I'm trying to think of all the people I talked to and made significant speech. So I've talked to anybody in there. I talked to Hitler. That I made significant shit. Talked to John F. Kennedy. I talked to the brother, Robert Kennedy. Ed Norton. I talked to Ed Norton, Art Carney. He was a freak ass nigga. There's somebody making some noise or something making some noise. All right, so and you could do it too. This is the method. It's not really out of your reach. It sounds like it's out of your reach, but it's really not. This is who we are. This is natural shit. This is like a walk in the park. I'm not doing anything special. I'm telling you as a witness of what can happen if you stick up, with the good work. You keep up with the good work. Most people are meditating, think they're gonna feel good afterward. Are you fucking out of your mind? You meditate. That's just a penny in it. Just to feel good. You meditate to get answers. You meditate to activate that light that's sleeping in you in the darkness to speak to any fucking thing. This is the path of the shaman, the internal journey. And then when you get to a certain level to expand, some of the drugs that you can use help as a tool to help expand. But you, again, as I started out, you have to be on some form of a path to do that. So I would say start there. Start with the Apple technique, move to certain objects that are familiar, then certain places that are familiar. If you're still having a problem with that and you want to go to the next level where you can see a more dynamic meditation, you want to put the music on and be at the concert. Either you giving the concert saying the words, or you at the concert on the stage, someplace exclusive, hearing and seeing the detail of the words unfold before you live. So that'll be your next step. And then from that point, if you have made it up to that point, then your own spirit should dictate what's next. And even if you stay doing the same things, you are still doing exercises. It doesn't matter. You could stay at just at the level I told you, and it opens up the door. That's what you want to do, because I see most people's doors are closed. You want to be able to do an imagination. I have a workshop that I put out. And in the workshop, I used to tell people, let's create a story and you pick it up. And I was shocked at how stuck they were. They can't use their imagination. I was at the store. I had to get some butter, but then I forgot my wallet. So I said, fuck it. I'm already halfway at the store. Should I go back and get my wallet? Or should I know the dude at the store, Hank. But the last time I was there, he gave me some butter on credit. I don't want to come through with butter, but I want to go back. Maybe if I give him what's in my pocket. You go, Salim. Then you go, Khadijah. Then you go, no. I'm like, damn, this is an easy exercise, because I want you to use your imagination on point. Just keep going right in the moment. People, we can't live in the moment anymore. Your subconscious mind is in the now, in the moment. And that story is coming from my subconscious. I'm able to pull it to my conscious quick. Yeah, I dug in my pocket. Then I had this fucking helicopter ring. And I know Hank talked about this helicopter ring all day. And I said my mother had one of these helicopter rings, and I wanted to show it to him. And I know my mother don't give a shit about it. So what if I gave him this helicopter ring? I know I could get more than butter. Fuck it. So I go to Hank's store. I say, Hank, guess what? I got your helicopter ring. What does Hank say? Next person. See, all of that's right off my head, right there. And that's what I try to get people to exercise and do. Things like take a bunch of playing cards and take a half the deck and try to guess, put out 2 cards and try to guess which one it is. Then add more and more and more cards to expand it. Or Uno cards. You know, take a certain amount, just take 4s and 3s, right? And then try to flip them face down. Guess which one is a 4 and a 3. But instead of trying to just randomly guess, try to see through the card, even though you're not doing it. But what you're doing is exercising the mind in that area. So it's not about how successful you can be at guessing them right. It's the act of trying that makes you stronger at it. So even if you don't see physical school, public school progress here, you're exercising the mind where your intuition is getting stronger to go beyond the intuition into a knowing. So you'll find in other areas you're getting stronger. No, don't do that. No, we ain't going to go there. And you'll be right. No, we need to hurry up. Get that before anyone else does. You'll know things like that in life. So there's things we need to do to exercise the mind that we just don't do, because they put our mind to sleep and put a different aspect of our mind in the forefront. So now we're being run by the part of us that shouldn't be running, our ego, our needs, wants, and how we can be carried away at any moment. The Black community needs to do that. The Black community should be doing that. And we need to be doing this as a people and that as a people. We need to eat more of these goddamn edibles, goddamn it, as a people. And we need this and that as a people. You could be carried away by whatever narrative is happening. You following how that fucks you up? So if they say there's no more fish sticks, oh, we as Black people need fish sticks. If they say there's no more carrots, oh, we as Black people need carrots. If they say, though. So we have to react to a they say thing if you're in a community situation. If you're going internally, it comes up with what you say. And you got to remember, we're cosmic beings who are actually quantum and communal and are connected. Therefore, if we always going in internally, most of what we would come up with would be on a consensus type basis because most of us, because we are all connected to the same source. And all of us going internally to find our true purpose, not our egotistical purpose, but our true purpose for existing here. You'll find there is a consensus that flows in a certain universe, one song mentality. Again, as I started, the universe can't help you. It means one song. And if you're not singing that one song, humanity doesn't sing that song. What is in you sings that song. And if you haven't cultivated what's in you, the universe don't give a fuck about you. It's like I used to say this in class. I always go for the dramatic. It's like a woman sticking her naked ass out the window saying, universe, send me a husband. That's how stupid that sounds. Of course, a nigga gonna show up, do what he do and go, I'm your husband. For now. You know that, and I know that wouldn't work. So just to say, universe, give me this, or universe, give me that, is generic. In the universe, it's nothing but energies. And these energies we gave certain names to down here because we define those energies under those names to use. Shiva, Shakti, Lakshmi, Parvati, Mahavadiyas, Vishnu. These are specific energies with definitions. Hanuman, Sita, Rama, Rayana. All of these are certain energies. You know what I'm saying? Krishna, Radha. What's his mama? Radha, Ram. All these energies have specific names. All of those collectively are the universe. So which one do you want? That's why we were specific with these pantheons. Ain't no universe going to save your ass. That's generic. And it doesn't make no sense. You're calling on the wrong shit. You're calling on any and everything. There's a lot of subversive shit in the universe. The thought of what white people are exists in us and in the universe because we made it manifest here. Are you calling on that too? No. That aspect of the universe you're not trying to fuck with. Because clearly we did, and you see them niggas is fresh out the caves. Came to give you the business. So that exists, and those subversive low-level thoughts exist in the universe too. Depression, hate, guilt, insufficiency, lack. All of those are energies in the universe too, son. So when you say the universe, you're calling on the same bullshit that got you fucked up in the first place for you to call on it. That's why we get specific with energies. That's why you must know and understand the energy that you bring forth, and that comes through the honesty. You're not going to find honesty in a communal setting. You're finding a social behavior, a social mentality, and a social behavior that you adhere to be in the community. Therefore, by its very nature, it's a lie. The same way hip-hop is a lie by its very nature. I'm sorry to say. You don't talk to your mom. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, Ma Dukes. This is how we do. This is what we do. Hello, Ma. Then you go outside and do that bullshit because you're performing. And if you're not the same nigga like Slick Rick on the street that you are with your mama and your father, you need to hang it up. Y'all need to stop lying. You don't go to your mom to say Hotep, beloved, hello, mother, with her Christian ass. You go outside with that shit. Buddha Gandhi, I should do Ashe. When your mother says amen, oh, amen, baby. Oh, Ashe, mama. That ain't happening. It's all a performance. Stop performing. You have to be real with you. You don't have to admit that shit to nobody but yourself. I am this and I am not that. And I want to know what I am for real, not what I was made to be. Only one way to do that. Meditation is subtle. Most people, again, just accept that you're doing it right. You have everything that everyone else has who is successful at doing it. No one is better than you. They just keep at it. Stay at it. Stay at that area. If you find a book that has a technique that works for you, cool. Now, again, if breathing works for you, then don't stop breathing. If sitting in postures work for you, don't change your posture. Sit your ass any way you need to sit to get it. But you start small. Start with something that you know. Something as simple as an apple, and stay in the moment. Work your way up to music. And if you have more complex ideas and things, shit, you need to go it. You're only limited but by your imagination. I like how your crystal has its own camera, its own name, and it's on mute right now out of respect. That crystal's on fire right now. So we're gonna do some little Q&A, I guess, at this point, because I think this is a good place to start. And but like I said, by the time you get to music meditations, I don't think I left anything out. You should be at a point where you either, like I said, can stay there, or you can you should be able to figure out something else on your own, because you should have the gist of what it feels like and what you're doing through meditation. So that's it. So remember, Cash App a nigga, make my life better. Cash App, $ Brother Pan, and hit me up.
I'm going to put that up right now. Let me make sure I get it right.
Cash
bear with
App.
me, family. I got occultlectures.com. That's his main website.
You got
and Cash App is
$ Brother Pan.
$. Now bear with me, I'm a slow typer for
That's
now. What is it? $. Oh, there it is. $ what? Brother Pan?
Brother Pan.
Brother PANN.
Just one N.
Okay, anything else? Any other connections?
Yeah, info at Samdi Reading.
Info at
SAME DI Readings with an S.com.
Readings.
With an S. Yeah.
All right, let me know if that's correct. Hold on now.
Okay. And that is Khadijah's email. You need to email her to get on our list for upcoming lectures and upcoming parties, which she's got one planned for this summer that is going to be on fire. Fiznire. So those who missed our last deity party, which was a smash, I didn't realize it was going to be like that. We got another one planned. So to get that info when it's that time, you want to email Khadijah at info@samdireadings.com. Of course, you can Cash App me, make my day. Cash App Brother Pan, $ Brother Pan. Make me feel good. Make me do something to make me feel good. What was that shit in Players Club? Do something to make me feel better. Go ahead and Cash App $ Brother Pan. Do something to make me feel better. Now, info right at samdireadings.com. That's it. Get on that list. Go to Occult Lectures. In a couple of weeks or so, I'm going to start classes. So I'm going to get back on that class teaching cycle. I'm back in that mood. It took me a while, but now I'm back. And I'm going to put together a lecture. I'm thinking North Carolina, guys. Maybe South Carolina, but I'm thinking North Carolina, Charlotte again, which I really love the energy. So put that on your calendar, North Carolina, before the summer. In a couple of months, you'll see a flyer. I'll let you know here. I'll let you know across the world when it's on, but we're thinking North Carolina. So there's going to be a lecture soon. Then after that, a party, then another lecture. And then we're back in the live business again, guys. So info at Samdi Readings, SAMEDIREADINGS.com. Hit her up. That'll put you on the list and you'll be in the loop. All right. So let's do a little Q&A and we'll see if there's such a thing as
I posted one question right there.
Okay. When meditating, I can't get past the images. I just go back to the darkness. What can I take to when meditating, I can get past the images, then I just go back into darkness. I don't keep looking in the darkness. I mean, what do you get? What did the images say that you got past? Maybe that was the message. So try to figure out what the images are before trying to go to another level. Maybe you haven't completed the first level, which was find out what the actual images was. So it's not necessarily trying to get past the images, but see what the images are. You know what I'm saying? If you're talking about those images and you keep seeing darkness, look in the darkness until something appears. And if it's not light, then put on some music. Think of an apple. I told you there's options. You got to find your niche. So again, when I would look at the top of my head, which everyone should do anyway, I would see light images after a while. That made, I don't remember if that was in the beginning or that developed, but I can tell you this for an actual fact. It developed from me doing the apple technique because that's all I knew and was taught from day one. So if you feel you're stuck somewhere, I gave you the day one thing to do. Focus on the apple, keep focusing the mind. So or deal with the light that you're getting. Something you got to find within you what's working. You understand what I'm saying? I can only really tell you the principles. It's your imagination. Do you have a good imagination? Well, when you're in the darkness, why don't you imagine something then? If you're in the darkness, you're in a movie theater. Make a movie, bro. Or sis. Make a movie. Like, you shouldn't have to see. When I hear this question, when you move it all away, all I just hear is a lack of imagination, which I don't not going to beat you up for or ostracize you for, because that's our biggest problem. When I did that workshop, as I pointed out, I noticed that the lack of imagination was our biggest problem. So that's what I see here as well. So let's say you are in a dark room, nigga, then you are the light. So make some light in there. Put what you want to see in there until it becomes your reality. You can do that's what we need to understand. We're waiting for something to happen. We don't have the mentality that we're here to make something happen. Do y'all understand that? Wait, well, see, you hear his questions. He's waiting for something, Jesus to come. That's where that comes from. Believe it or not. This is, I told you, y'all have a problem with psychological programming, and y'all think because y'all don't go to church no more, you're over it. But y'all need to understand how it works. What he just said was, I'm waiting for something to happen. Now, if I would have said, you waiting for Jesus, nigga, oh, you a disrespectful ass, and not, nigga, I know what you are. It's the same thing. You're waiting for a light show to come on. Why don't you turn the light show on yourself? If I was sitting in darkness, what do? I turn on the lights. I don't sit in darkness and wait for the lights to come on. Think about that shit for a second. Think about it for a second.
I want to share when Sister Salam, I want to thank you for your question. As I'm listening to Brother Panic, and audience, you probably can attest to this in the chat. Salam, Moji, Salika, and Salika, you can tell us what your vibe is. We went into trance. We went into light trance while he was speaking. He was working tones while Brother Panic was working tones as he was speaking. And I was looking at your face. You were in trance meditation lightly. So congratulations. I just want to give you a congratulations because that was an acoustically guided trance. So I just want to say congratulations on the lightness. Although your mind might have said, when are we going to get to the rest of this? You know, you was there. Very much so. Salika, did you notice the trance states we were in? I think Salika's still in trance. Go ahead. Tell us how you feel.
No,
we can't hear
everything Panic was saying. I'm so sorry. Everything Panic was saying, correct. Yeah, I go into trance very easily. although he was talking. Like sometimes I'll go into trance and the airplane will go over. I won't hear it until like the last minute. So yeah, I was into trance and just was in my zone.
Yeah.
Again, I can hear him. I can hear him. Every word he
Right.
said. I understood it.
Moji.
But,
Thank you,
I-
Salika. Moji, did you realize you were also in trance?
Yeah, I've been in Brother Panic's class, so I know how it goes. If you've ever been in the class,
All right.
you know, it's a hilarious thing, but most people are kind of like after 5 hours, you know, you kind of you know, you
You
drift
better
off,
be in trance, else you ain't did shit.
right?
Well, Hank, I said it in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I said teachers know how to put people in alpha state.
Yep, that's right.
That's the first thing I said. I've been know how to do that. How
Yeah.
to speak and put people in trance. It was actually a phenomenon that most people will attest to. They'll say when they listen to the Bobby Hemmett tapes, they listen to this, that they'll be asleep, they'll be in trance. And I remember doing this too. I'll be knocked out, listening to this tape or be in trance. And so you know, I wanted to always do that shit. So years I've been getting panic. I'll be in trance listening to your shit. I'll be in trance. So I was like, yeah,
Exactly.
we're gonna do it. But then I learned that there's a way. And of course, long speakers like myself, this is the easy. They tell you it's easier to get people in trance. We have to know this. This is one of the things. Sister took my class, Moji. Like she knows. I talked about this, that mind control. It gets a bad rep because of the name. But mind control is actually just a technique we invented, but we invented it to control culture. So there was no sinister aspect to it. Mind control is not sinister by nature. It's just a technique of cultivating human minds, either for bad or good. Now we're under mind control of someone who has not our interests at heart, their own agenda to survive of their lived existence in this short-lived turnout. They're using all the techniques that they know from us and turn them around and weaponize them us. So mind control itself is actually a technique for the better. So one of the techniques in mind control are long talkers like myself, the ones who have the lack for long talk. They said you got them. That's the best one, because there's not people who have the disposition to talk like this in our speakers. Like you got them because they're gonna zone out, and then when they're zoning out, they're gonna hear your message. So it becomes if the message is pure or if the message is bullshit or if the message is in their interest. So I try to hope I speak in their interest by giving them books and telling them how they don't need to rely on me. Most people will start saying how, or subconsciously bringing them to rely on the person that's doing the talking. So those seminars and self-help seminars, they do the same concept as what I do. People go into trance at Les Brown and at Creflo, the weekend tournaments of church and weekend tournaments of speakers that they'll have and people pay all this money for. They'll go into trance. That's the whole point.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
the whole point.
And I just want to say, when I brought the crystal in here, it enhanced my trance, and it said, put me on a rotating platform.
Mm.
And then once I did that, I was like in the zone. The trance zone is like turn on the Tesla plate. So even though I'm moving, I'm still in trance, just like the way when you walk, you're in trance.
Mm-hmm.
When you're looking at your phone, scrolling
Right,
through
you're
all
in
the
trance.
chat,
Right.
you're in trance.
Right.
We're in trance, and that's the light states of meditation. We don't literally have to sit and focus on, okay, now I'm going to meditate. Because after 40 minutes, when I learned in the military, after 40 minutes, you naturally go into trance. So everything Brother Panic shared with us is uploaded from being in trance. And that's the magic.
And let's understand, let's not be absolutely clear to make this study complete. Trance is alpha state. So everything I said about alpha state when Hank is referring to trance is the same thing.
So in listening, Salam, you still in trance. If you look at her face, she in trance.
Oh yeah.
You see emoji? You see a Salika family? You're in a trance state now. So you got so many folks in the chat. It's just I can't even keep up.
As soon as I walk in the room and I see niggas, I go into trance state. Like, yeah, here they come. Panic, you're the greatest. Panic, you suck. Panic, you're the greatest. Panic, you suck. Is it over now? You know, that's pretty much the standard.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get another question going. Hank.
Oh, okay. Let me pull that off. Oh, Salam, do you have a question?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Sure. So guided meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say like the example you said with your mind in alpha state with the apple and envisioning that and visualizing that with all your five senses is better than doing like a guided meditation per se?
I wouldn't say one is better than the other. I was saying see what progress you make. A guided meditation, you need to be in a scenario to get it. So if you're in that scenario and you're in that scenario often and it's working, go to town with it. But ultimately, I would say what you need to do is you're going to have to go internal by yourself. If that guided meditation is taking you internal by yourself, because guided meditation is insanely great to me. If anybody sat to me and said anything, close your eyes, you're standing on the beach, it's not even to them. It's not even them that's doing it. Like I can be on. It feels good when they direct it. Here's why, sis. Because think about it. If you're using your imagination, right, it's still amount of effort that you have to do. You have to zone out to get it to come from your subconscious fluid, like how I was telling the story in that moment, right? But if someone else is coming from their imagination, that even puts yours to rest even a little bit more. And if you have the imagination or did the imagination exercises with the apple by itself, when they take you to wherever they're taking you, oh, you're there. You understand what I'm saying? Because your imagination is up to snuff. Because wherever they take you in the guided meditation, if your imagination ain't there, it's going to be just as weak and just as not convincing to yourself. All of this has to be convincing to your imagination. So why I say the apple and doing that at a young age, my imagination stayed active, replenished, and ready for business. So if someone did, and they have in funny situations created guided meditations and I followed them, I was there. 2 places I can tell you that was off beat that showed me this fact. It was 2001, 9/11. I was working at a fucking Random House book place, right? And there was dudes upstairs and we were downstairs. So my man Greg, he didn't come in that day. He was kind of wild, and he was running it with me, and the subordinates with me, and one nigga named Muppet was with me. So niggas had an idea. He says, "Yo, let's take some of the coffee. What's that shit you put in coffee? The creamer, and put it behind everyone's time card. And the creamer at the time they was sending out anthrax and shit. Remember, right after 9/11. So the army dude downstairs, and another dude, they come up. So everybody's saying, we must have got a bonus. He opened it and that fucking creamer came out, and the nigga's eyes just went crazy. So you know us, woo shit, woo. We walking all the way to the elevator. Oh shit, woo. Next day I come in, and my man Greg's like, shit, what the fuck y'all do yesterday? What you talking about? He said, yo, y'all put some white shit and dude shit down. I said, Muppet and them niggas did that. He said, yo, that nigga was about to call the feds, yo. I called him. He said some anthrax shit. He said I talked him down. He said he went and told old girl out there. The whole motherfucking crew is coming today. Word is born. The execs came in and everything. I'm sitting there like, oh, this is so funny. They brought us in the room. They just fired everybody. You know what I'm saying? Now I ain't got no job doing 9/11, son. I'm still studying my computer shit. So now I'm looking for shit. I'm in Brooklyn. Somebody said, you got to go to this spot. I went to this spot. They said, no, this is welfare to work. I was like, yo, man, I just find a regular job. They said, oh, you got to do the program. Now I'm I'm not on welfare, but in a welfare to work, a WEP program. So now they got sayings and shit. Like you have to stand up. I'm on my way to self-sufficiency. See how that shit sticks in my head? When you sing a song, it's in your craw. It just never leaves. I'm like, bitch, I'm self-sufficient. I just lost my job. No, you on your way, nigga. And like, they wouldn't want to hear nothing. I'm like, yeah, I live with my cousins. We roommates. Lives with his cousins. Like, wait, no, we roommates, bitch. But one of the dudes did a guided meditation. And, you know, he's just doing it for the welfare people or what he thinks is. But he was just a regular dude. And I think he's thinking, y'all niggas need to know about meditation because when I go home, you know what I'm saying, I meditate with my hoes. So let me show y'all peasants a little thing or two. You know, you're walking on the beach. You feel the shit in your sand. But I was instantly there. And the next guided meditation, I was with Bob and Aaron. Aaron's the dude that, I don't know if y'all seen the video with me and B.O.B. with Soul Glow. Aaron was the dude that was playing Randy Watson. And he's wild like that. But this nigga is not really there because he's like Black Ops, you know, some old wild shit like that. He showed us how to shoot, like, you know, that nigga. And this nigga knew this ninja that was doing karate. So B.O.B. took the course with the ninja. See, this nigga's ill. I said, yo, fuck that, man. I want to learn ninja shit. So I said, yo, I'm signing up for his class. Maurice Crump, look that nigga up. He's ill. This nigga is crazy. So he was showing techniques like how to do your dip. And these niggas was bad. And so I'm taking the class and he did a guided meditation. You know what I'm saying? And I was just there easy. Khadija does them. I always step out the room because I'm talking. But guided meditations are cool. They're just a part of the arsenal. That's why you can't look at things as one or the other. You got to look at it for what works. But see, why would you want that to be your sole thing? Because then you always need a person to do it, unless maybe you have a recording. If that works for you too. But by the time you hear the recording, it's the same thing over and over again. You might as well tell yourself the same thing over and over again. You know what I'm saying? So it depends on you. It depends on how it goes. I got far with those two guided meditations, but I know I got far because of my work. If he just pulled me out the blue, I would just been thinking of what he was saying. When he was telling me, I was there. I was in the moment because of the Apple technique. Listen closely. And so you can understand how this fluidly works. If I learn how with my mind to experience the Apple with all five senses, when he says you're standing on the beach, I immediately feel it with all five senses. But if I didn't do that work, just standing on the beach or walking here, you're just going to be thinking about that. I'm in the moment because I took something small as the apple and put myself in the moment, the banana, and put myself in the moment by exercising all five senses in that moment. I'm using that moment to say, this is what it tastes like. This is what it feels like. This is what it looks like. This is what it sounds like. When you bite into it, when you crunch it, when you move it in your hands. You know what I'm saying? Smells, touch, taste, see, hear. Am I missing smell, touch, taste, see, hear?
So essentially, those exercises help enhance the guided meditations.
I would even go as far as say those more than help it. Those are the methodologies for it. You understand what I'm saying? It's like saying you can say a hammer helps build a house, or a hammer helps with just like saying, well, a hammer helps with the nails. No, a hammer is how you get nails in the wood. You know what I'm saying? So you can say it both ways, but I want to put it in its direct context. It's not how it helps you, it's how you get there. It's how you get there. Again, as I pointed out, you're taking how you experience this world generally through 5 senses and bringing it back to the imagination. What we did was the 5 senses were born out of our imagination. And now we think we are our 5 senses through our ego. Now we have to put our 5 senses back in the right context, that it belongs and always has belonged in our imagination. Therefore, you experience the apple with your imagination now, instead of trying to get one and put it in your hand. And even if you need to get one and put it in your hand while you do the first meditation, fine too. Then your next step will be taking it out of your hand and trying to get it. Then a lemon or whatever. Simple. But what you're doing is not helping. You're doing the work that I keep talking about. So it's not, so see, you see the inference when you say helping, even though it is helping, but I don't want to put the inference just on helping. The inference is this is the method to get to where all that other shit will start to be easier and make sense. So if I understand the basis of what make me human is my 5 senses, if I could bring it back in my mind, it's now out of my mind and in the physical world and out of control. So when I bring the 5 senses back under control, everything I do in a form of meditation is under that control. You're on the beach, you're there. See, if your 5 senses is under control, that's what I'm telling you. If I tell you the story of Hank and I need butter at the store, if you can get in that moment, you can pick up the story. You can't pick up the story because you're not in the moment. You're not necessarily you, but I'm just saying most people couldn't pick up the story in the class because they weren't in the moment. All they were in was what I said in my moment. If they could get in the moment with me, they'd be able to pick up that story with ease. That's an exercise to get you there. That's who we are, because those stories are how we create in this world. We are the inventors. We pull something out of nothing. So that's what you want to be able to do. So you have to get your senses back under control. And that's where you start. That's why I start with that. So one is not better than the other. They all are the same thing. And that's what we need to understand. But we don't know how to get to know thing. You understand? So I'm trying to get you to something. And that's how you start. Don't skip it. Don't worry about nothing else, because I'm telling you, if you ain't got control of your 5 senses under your spiritual control, then you ain't shit. I'll say to whoever's mama's face, you ain't shit. You ain't doing shit. When you get the 5 senses under control, you'll be able to actually control your reality a little bit more, because your reality comes from here. It is not happening to you. So again, when you ask the question, I get to this darkness, then what's supposed to happen next? Well, whatever you make happen happens next. We are running this. No one's running this for you. What if I told them some bullshit because I'm on a control thing? That's how we're prepped to get control when we ask those type of questions. They clearly are designed to see as if we know. Well, I do this and I do this, but I get here and do that. When you wipe all that away, all you're saying is I don't know. You're just trying to tell me you know, but you're saying you don't know. And because we don't know, we leave our neck open for vultures. Niggas who want clicks, hits, likes, and your attention. You understand? And when they do that, they're willing to when I'm in the darkness, what do I expect next? You just left your neck open. I could tell you anything. You should expect to see me at Cash App, Brother Pan. Okay. And see, that's saying it straight out. But see, all I have to do is say it more sophisticated. Oh, when you see the darkness, that's usually the realm of Pan. I'm already Brother Panic. I just told him me without telling him me. If you have a sinister bone in your body, I'm trying to tell you the shit to get you the fuck up out of it. Find whatever you need to find, and it won't be me, motherfucker. Nothing like me. You have to find you. So most people have to take control of it and understand. We first of all, there's no such thing as a debate. I said in the beginning, there's more than one pathway to find light. We shouldn't look at these things. What's better than the next? What's better for you is really the key. Let's get crude for a second. That's like saying the best way to get your nut is for you to be on top. How the fuck would I know that? You like what you like, and you probably know what to do for that situation. You wouldn't even ask me no shit like that. You following what I'm saying? You got to be the same way in this meditation. Those are the questions you shouldn't ask or shouldn't have to ask. Those are the experiments you should be telling me what happened when you did it. So again, just start where I said. No one wants to start where I said. It sounds too simple, but yet nobody's doing nothing. Start where I said. That's where I started. And it leads you to where you need to be. This, I promise you. If you don't have the core shit, how you going to do all that advanced shit when the core shit ain't there? Niggas don't even know. What I just told you should break your fucking head right now. That you need to get all your 5 senses back into your imagination. That should break your fucking head right now. Nobody knows that. Nobody's doing that. Nobody understands that's even the fucking concept out here. Let's be real. I'm consistently trying to tell y'all the real trickery of this shit. But everybody wants to be fucking the magical magi. It starts with an apple, niggas. You don't believe me? Just sit around and keep looking at the darkness. I guess it's the next one. As a kid, when I was going to bed, I closed my eyes and would see a rough like surface, then become completely smooth through consecutive sequence. Is this going into the alpha state? Yes, I would say that is. That's absolutely Hela Yella. I would say that is that. If you remember, I talked about earlier that once you start looking at the top of your head, eventually the lights that you're seeing around you will go out. And, you know, the lights of this world, and then inner lights will start turning on. And usually, if you're making progress, you'll see scary faces. Not all the time, but this happens to a lot, more than I thought. This what happened to me. I brought it up thinking very few people shared this, but I was shocked at how many people actually did share this experience. But then I would hear most people would see these faces, think that they were going someplace sinister and turn away. So as this person says how it was a rough, then the surface turned smooth, which I've seen that before too, is him actually in alpha state and he's actually making progress. He's actually getting down to some business. Now, when he stays with the smooth ones, he should stay with the images and see what comes about. See if he comes up with something. See if it's something coherent. I've seen, I don't even know where to start. Only thing I guess I could start with is one night, I remember I had the window open and I could see spirits coming in on the wind. Each time the shit said whoosh, shits would rush in. And I was seeing just Ganeshas dressed up in army suits and standing upright, just detailed light images of motherfuckers moving, scenes, hieroglyphs, plateaus of pyramids in detail. Like I'm literally watching this shit. It's not even flashes. It's like long scenes, but I'm able to stay in that moment. And again, the apple, the music, that'll guys will get you there in that moment too. So when I usually wake up and walk away, it feels more complete. It feels like something was turned on, even though from my public school training, you're ready to say, 4 plus 5 equals 20, nigga. I got it now. It's not something that happens up here. It's something that happens here. So when I'm speaking to you now, all this shit ain't rehearsed out of books. It's these lights that were turned on through meditation that the knowing has been turned on. So when I speak on the subject, even though I read and studied the subject, the expansion on my understanding and the ability to speak on it has become grandiose because I turned on what is within that part of your DNA, that light. So when he keeps getting stuck in this darkness, he's not turning on the lights because he's getting to this place and he has no information to fucking work with. That's what I said from day one. You don't even have to ask the question. That's what, not only day one, that's what I said from this thing one. If you guys are doing shamanistic work and have no fucking information, then you're just getting high. Didn't I say that? So if you're meditating and have no goal, then you're just seeing darkness. I don't see why y'all can't correspond what I've actually laid out as to actually what I'm saying. See, if you ask that question, that means you didn't really hear or understand what I laid out. Now, I get this too. When you lay it out for the first time, you ain't going to hear it the first time. You hear it in repeats. That's how it works. But that's what I addressed. I said, if you don't have a goal, you're not a shaman. You're just getting high. So if you don't have a goal in your spirituality, when you meditate, you just getting high again, because you're going to get past that light and see darkness. That means you're not looking for any light or you're not searching for anything. That's why you see darkness. Or you could have got your message already. He has to determine that based on what's going on. And I'm going to look at for the best case scenario. So yes, I believe, hey, yeah, you were in alpha state just for that process to happen. But you're one of them process that could see light. I was able to see light. So you need to stay with the light imagery. Remember, your subconscious mind, though it learns through symbols, repetition, and trauma, it also speaks to you in symbols. Your dreams are nothing but a collection of symbols. That's why 1 minute you're here, then you're at your grandmother's house on the couch, because it's a series of symbols that your subconscious mind is trying to communicate in its native language to you. We misunderstand symbology. J.C. Cooper. I gave out that book last time, the J.C. Cooper book. Anything on symbols. I gave out the Egyptian books by Robert Wilkinson. Symbols of the Egyptian, whatever it was, I gave it out on Hank's show. Signs and Symbols of the Primordial Man is also a good one. I think by Churchward, Albert Churchward. If that's not his book, get Signs and Symbols of the Primordial Man, then get Albert Churchward's book. I think it's the same guy. What's the black brother who made that Melanin book? I got two of them by mistake. Well, you can get Carol Barnes for Melanin, Richard King for Melanin, but this is a newer guy. I'll find his book before we leave. I'll get it while y'all doing the meditation. So, yes, all right. To all, when meditating, I can get past the images. Then I go back into the darkness. What can I do to get to another? That's the one we had before.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna get rid of that one.
Yeah, and it's a good question. Now, I don't want to think the person think I'm beating up on them, but I always use them for that. Somebody said, "Can the herb pack help with schizophrenia?" One person did claim that. I don't like to make those claims. I made it for myself for spiritual meditation to stop with chatter, and it did that. I used it for a short time. I didn't have too much of a problem with chatter. Turned out that's the primary reason. But for schizophrenia, I have to find an old friend. She's still around. I just got to see if I could contact her, and I can put her in contact with you. She had this problem, schizophrenia, pills and doctors and lockups and all of that, and became conscious and started fucking with deities of formulas, and got right up out of it. Well, I used to put her on to other schizophrenic people, and she gave them a big hand. So someone who's having a problem with that, just message me on Facebook, I would say, and I could link you to her on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? You can find me easy on Facebook. Just Google Brother Panic. It'll give you my Facebook page. And just send me a message there. Or email is just going to get lost. DM me too at Instagram, Brother Panic, BROTHAPANIC. Y'all should be linking up with me there anyway. And just DM me there, and I'll try to put you on the old girl. But you could try it, you know what I'm saying? See what it does for you. One person told me that it did that, but it's a claim I don't make. This is for spirituality primarily. I have a chaotic mind, can't slow it down. The herb pack may be good for that, but then the apple technique is ultimately what you should be doing anyway. The herb pack is just a tool that could help. But again, you're trying to get your chaotic mind comes from your ego and your overstimulated five senses, which therefore create an overstimulated emotional system. So you need to get into a chakra thing. If you don't know about my wife, Khadijah, email her info@Samdi Readings, and she has chakra classes, chakra books, chakra spinning workshops, chakra this, chakra that. While my original class focused on the mind, hers focused on the emotional system of her chakras. So you can deal with that, or just get you a good book on chakras and find. Oh shit, you could get my first book. I have a whole chapter on chakras. And what I like about my book, I did research, and chakras have three states. They're either overactive, balanced, or underactive. And I've mapped in my book on chakras all 7 major chakras and all emotions that are with all 3 states within each. So you need something like that, if not my book, to evaluate yourself. Say I have too much this, too much that, not enough this, not enough that, and it'll say I need more energy in this chakra, less energy in that chakra. And there's techniques on the colors to use to offset, to slow them down or to speed them up. And like I said, she has it. She also has workshop classes, because you're going to have to deal with your emotional state. Now, for your mind, now that your mind has reacted to all of this emotion and this overstimulation, it reacts the same way in terms of its anxious or anxiety thoughts. So you need to slow it down. The apple technique is a good one. So, but you have to keep working at it. You're going to keep having pop-ups. A herb pack may be a good tool for you. Let me say it now. It takes a long time to get it. I just mailed out 150 packages 2 days ago. Stuff that should be hitting now, books and shit like that. But we flip them. First come, first serve. I've been selling this since 2009, 2008. It is very popular around the world. I have so many shows where people hear me talking about this shit aggressively still in the world. So they buying it like it's just hit the market. I'm like, man, this shit, man, I already bought a house off of this shit. It is absolutely popular because it absolutely does the job and it absolutely works. So if you can wait, do that. If you can't wait, then, find other means, find things online to help calm the mind and get into that basic meditations and look into some chakra work. Salim, love. I think this is for the sister. Salim, love to see other conscious East African. Great question as well. I was thinking the same thing.
Cool. Gone global.
There you go, Antonio, sending the love. He's got some love in his eyes. Love is in the air. And we're making it true for you. Salam. Love for Salam. Meet him on the Acapulco deck. We got drinks. Why is magic spelt with a K? We are advised to forget about it, but other times we scry and visualize it. Because when you forget about it, the concept is you're giving it to the subconscious mind to do the work. And if you don't forget about it and it's in your beta mind or your conscious mind, you tend to ruin it with your own thoughts, with your own ego. So there's a whole system and a whole thing of forgetting it. It's more than just scrying. When you get a candle, throw it over your shoulder, throw it in the forest or bury it, throw it in the water, flush things down the toilet, burn it, put it in the candle, let it burn. Throw it away, throw it behind you, get rid of it afterwards, because you're trying to say, I did it and it worked. Why am I thinking about it later? But then there's things you want to use. As I pointed out, your subconscious mind is also impacted because the candle and all that are symbols. So you want the symbol to burn in the conscious mind and go away. You don't want to think about it. That's why in sigil writing, they'll take a sentence and take out the vowels and the double consonants and create a picture and then scry into it and get rid of it. Because what they're saying is that sentence, that intention, I want money, I am rich, or whatever the fuck you want, when you made a symbol and put it in the subconscious mind, you want to put it in there, put the intention in there and forget it. Let the subconscious mind does what it does. Let the subconscious mind to create the reality of I am rich. Let the subconscious mind create the reality of I am power, I am love, I am healed, I am Pan, I am God. See, that's the whole point of what we're doing here. We're trying to program the subconscious mind into our reality. So you want to hit it and forget it. The more we think about it, the more our egos involved, our beta minds involved, the more we're trying to reason with the reality we want. We're trying to go past reason and we're trying to put it in the subconscious. That's why we do that. So some things though, you want to remember, symbols you want to remember, things you want to have, because what also gets in the subconscious mind, as I pointed out, is repetition. So you're either doing it for the repetitious aspect of it or you're doing it for that aspect of it. But either way, know why you're doing it. I notice I instantly fall into meditation when I bathe and shower. Is this because the water is a conduit? And some people are talking. That's absolutely right. You don't have to ask that question. You're making a statement. Let's be real. That's something you know, and you want to make a statement. You're forming it as a question so it can get attention, but you know that's true. And that's absolutely true. Everybody knows water is a conductor. So if it works for you, then get your ass in the tub. That's the point. That's the point. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but we need to be honest here at what this shit is. Let's stop pretending we're in this scholarly thing and be real. If you don't know, you don't know. And if you know, you know. Add something that you know. I'll say it if it makes sense. If it don't, I'm going to say it don't from my perspective. I've attracted monsters, ghosts, angels, all sorts of things and don't know how to control it. Nobody taught me how. I recently started imagining Milith Sethith of protection. And all right. So if you can't control it, then you can't control your own mind. And that's your real problem. Think of an apple, son. I know you feel deep with angels, ghosts, and monsters, but it means nothing if you can't control it. So what does that tell you? As I pointed out earlier, it tells you if you're in a guided meditation and you can't, and he tells you to be on the beach and you have to think of a beach, you can't experience it with your senses in that moment. See, if I think of a beach, the first thing I feel is my feet in the sand. Not that I see a beach that I'm standing on. I feel ocean air. I feel the smell. I hear birds. If somebody said think of a beach, I say hear seagulls immediately. I feel that crisp in the air. I feel my feet in the sand. I feel the boardwalk that I just walked off of. I feel the boardwalk in the sand. I feel the sand in between my toes irritating me. I feel my shorts. And I feel like I'm laying on a fucking blanket no matter what. I can feel that. And that's because I did the apple technique. So if I can't feel it through a guided meditation and someone says the same thing, I've attracted monsters, ghosts, and angels, all sorts of things, but don't know how to control it. What does that tell you? Do you understand how we're saying the same thing over and over again, people? Because I'm saying the same thing over and over again to answer you. That's why I'm telling you that I know our problem is actually really small. And when I tell you, you still don't believe it. I'm telling you one thing. Think of a fucking apple, experience with all five senses, become stronger in that area. And then when you encounter monsters, ghouls, and ghosts, you'll know exactly what to do because they only come from your mind. Because what are you really saying then? I attract monsters, ghouls, and ghosts, but they exist outside of me, so I can't control them? Is that what you're trying to convince me of? That monsters, ghouls, and ghosts live somewhere in the universe and you have tapped in and now you can't control some other behavior? Is that what you're saying? Monsters, ghouls, and ghosts are only definitions of energies that reside in your mind. So now you need to explain to me why you can't control your own mind. That's what we need to get to. That's the truth here. Think of a fucking apple, experience with all five senses, you start there. Then once you have control of your own fucking mind, then you can control what comes out of your fucking mind. Ghouls, ghosts, monsters, and all sorts of things. They're not outside of you trying to attack you, fuck you up. If you don't know how to control your mind and you have a human interpretation of what you goddamn seen on goddamn Friday morning Godzilla and goddamn Legion and all the rest of that shit, I am the angel Azrael, then you're going to think they're uncontrollable. But if you know they're just aspects of you, then it is controllable. But you have to have a competence in that world. Yet again, let me explain to you slow niggas. Think of an apple. Use all 5 senses. What you're doing is push-ups in that world. Didn't you hear me say this already? To get stronger. Because everything you're describing in the questioning is a weakness in that world. I get in that world, but I can't do shit. That's what you're saying. I get in that world, I ain't got no muscle. I get in that world, I'm in darkness, I can't get out. I'm getting in that world, I see monsters, ghouls, and ghosts, I can't control them. Okay, think of an apple. Think of a banana. Think of a bike. Then think of going to someone's house, your grandmother, places you've been. See the detail. Imagine the smell of your grandfather's house in 1970. Can you do it? Or 80, whenever the fuck you were around. Shit, or 90. Think of the smell of your grandfather's house, the smell of your grandmother's perfume. Detail in your mind, if you can create, is the detail when these energies come to you that you use to leash them, to interact with them. You don't know how to interact with them because you don't know how to interact with yourself. You're just showing you have talent to get to these places. But once niggas put you on the stage, you don't know how to sing or dance. And that's a fact.
You know, I just want to share, Brother Panic, with everyone. Listen, you know, I'm past 60. I'm going to tell you, we got hell and heaven, everything's inside of us.
Right.
We got killers inside of us.
Right.
We have artists. We have healers.
Right.
We are the worst demons, but it's like feeding it with your attention is what makes
it manifest.
Yeah. That's all I wanted to say.
Or your lack of attention.
Mm.
Your lack of attention is why niggas in Chicago are doing drill music, because no one gave them the true attention that they needed. They don't know who the fuck they are, so they are fucking this.
Yeah.
So your lack of attention also makes these 9 times out of 10 monsters, because your lack of attention, what I've been trying to tell you is the white man has been giving you attention up here. You think he's just giving you attention in the streets with some cops beating your ass. He's giving you attention up here constantly because you don't know how to attend to your own shit. You don't know how to attend to your own shit. So he'll give you the attention. So let's say in the best case scenario, what Hank is talking about, you still make choices to be whatever you're going to be, whatever you came here to do. We're not even making those choices anymore. The choices are being made for us. When you became a nurse, you thought that's what you came to Earth to do. You may have came to Earth to help people, but they just gave you the fucking the flow path to do it. You may have a whole nother reality of helping people, but you'll never find out if you don't get into yourself. Let's ask some more questions, I guess. What time are we coming up on?
Here's an interesting one, because heaven and hell is inside of us
all day.
And that's I'm gonna say this, you know, like what Brother Panic does. He reminds me somewhat of boot camp. The way he talks, rough to kick your ego's ass.
Yes,
that keeps you earthbound.
That's what it's about.
And it's like boot camp to destroy your ego, because your ego
that's
is
what I'm trying to
earthbound.
Now you got it. This is not about.
So that's why I like you being on the platform, brother.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for saying that.
And people and you know, some, whether brothers or sisters, oh my God, listen the way he talks. I. Yo, that's ego.
Talk about that shit.
Yeah.
I ain't been giving a fuck about that shit since
Oh,
2000 and
Ego will
something
fight because
with
he's
zeros in
stomping
it.
Ego.
Yeah, I didn't give a fuck about that shit since 2000 with many zeros in it.
Yeah.
Like I promise you this. That's who I'm not talking to. The person who's still protecting themselves under this communal umbrella, this communal blanket of courtesy. We don't have time for courtesy sometimes. You know, between me and you, if I met you in Nashville, I'll be the most courteous motherfucker, hat tipping nigga. But this ain't that time. This is the time we hear what we need to hear. And I'm glad you said it, like boot camp. I'm not here to appease your ego. I'm here to shock your ego into you questioning yourself and hoping it brings you to your own self, not about that's why I keep reiterating it's not about me. It's not about beating you up. It's not about hating black people. I love black people. I love the black people I fuck with. You know what I'm saying? I love what's in you as a collective. But you niggas walking around trying to fucking balance out crypto, y'all can kiss the back of my ass forever. Y'all are slaves to me. Slaves. They tell you this is what's popping, and then you pop with it. That's a slave. And it's not really about crypto. It's about your reaction to their shit is really the question. They give you some shit, then you all about it. That's the question. Now I get if it's a way for niggas to come off and niggas found a way in, but it ain't that. Because they ain't even found a way in. They showed you they ain't even found a way in. Know what I'm saying? I got you first eye vision.
Oh, before you bring that question, listen, it was an interesting point. Salam, Salika, Moji, that what's his name? Billy Carson was saying that we literally been genetically tampered and placed a worship gene into our DNA so that we would be suckers for external religions and worship.
That didn't happen to me.
Oh, well, so what?
From who? Who did that? The Anunnaki again? Those pesky Anunnaki. When will they stop?
And they put worship DNA.
Son. No. Ain't no special magical. Niggas are under fucking basic mind control. They're scared and they use fear. Let's not kid ourselves. Who the fuck did it?
Well, I got a mushroom for him.
It is what it is.
Okay.
But I don't subscribe to, magical theories. What I know is motherfuckers are under straight mind control. All you got to do is go to public school. That magical gene was put into you in the 3rd grade. PS 192, nigga. That's where that magical shit was put into your ass.
And I remember after getting a vaccine when I was in elementary school, I couldn't even think fast. I remember my thinking slowed down. It took years for that shit to wear off. So it ain't your fault, family. They've been jabbing us, and now it feels like my head only got clear.
Whatever happened to this talk, though? Whatever happened to when Brother Bobby and others said, Dr. Africa and them said, the melanin adapts and reorders that shit and puts it under control. Then when Bobby brought back a lot of mythology on not Shiva, Krishna, about the science of why he's blue in his melanin and how Shiva's able to eat the poisons of the 3rd world and transmute them back into his power. Where Dr. Lean talked about they can't find out the key or the last element of melanin. And then when I talked about in the TV show True Blood, when they dealt with the fairies as the version of melanin and they wanted to synthesize it, they said once it comes out the body, it turns into regular blood. They cannot figure out melanin because of its cosmic relationship. They can hit you with a vaccine and fuck you up in the moment because the melanin takes time to adapt to it. That's why they're always giving you a new vaccine, nigga.
Right.
It worked. They would give you one, and that would be it. Stop playing with these stupidity. Let me not say what I can really say. We need to stop playing with this stupid shit out here And really, what's put in our asses is our ability to believe any motherfucker who come along and tell us any goddamn thing in the world. We have no faith in who and what we are, and therefore program ourselves into this weakness. Get over anything just not to do fucking work. What the fuck, nigga?
I remember Bobby talking about do you remember he was talking about how they were spraying chemtrails over the hood and people turned into superpowers. They had superpowers after that.
Listen, who said that?
Bobby said that
Shit,
in one of his lectures. The point he was making was that whatever they're doing, it's the melanin. You're still gonna. It's not gonna have anything over you.
Yeah, I know what he was talking about. He was talking about, when you say it in that context, I know what he was talking about. He was talking about because of the pressure that you put the melanin under, people were exhibiting certain powers where they thought it was stifling. And for the most Christian, it would stifle. For the most unaware person, it would stifle. But for the conscious people, shit was coming online because we knew there was something to fight. So I get where he was coming from with it. Like I said, you got to take what everyone says, even myself, with a grain of salt and see how it works for you. What I don't appreciate is anything we talk about that stifles our power. That's what we need to pay attention to. If a nigga says they spray chemtrails and you got superpowers, I'd rather use my imagination and say that, even if I can't physically prove that, than say somebody sprayed chemtrails and now we can't meditate. You feel what I'm saying?
What you just said?
That's the difference.
What you just said, family, listen and listen close. The next big spook is being this bot chat stuff. Listen close to what Brother Panic is saying, because they're getting ready to scare the shit out of you with artificial intelligence.
Right.
That's going to be the next boo hoo 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 hoo.
Okay? Well, they already been warming that up. You're right, because that's the Matrix. That's
fear.
Terminator.
That's Machiavellian fear. So they're trying to spook you now with AI, the robots, and all that.
Let me tell you what they're doing. Let me tell you some slick shit that they did, Hank. And this is why Hank is right on that. Motherfucking, for years, anybody who makes music samples. Whatever that question is, Hank, can you move that silly ass question? Thank you, Hank. For years, if you made music, sampling, what you were really doing was taking bits and parts of the record as the record showed up. So now, let's say I take an Earth, Wind, and Fire record that we all know, the reasons that we're here. We know there's a small intro with music. They sing the song, and then there may be an intro in the exit in the end that has some music, or in the middle, maybe a break part with music. So when we sample, that's the areas where we're pretty much stuck at, where there's a whole different portions of bass lines and all sorts of shit that are in the song, but there are vocals over them, there are drums, there are other instruments over them. So never could we ever get anything else but those areas of the song. And that was the reality of sampling. And that's what rap was made on from day one. They created a fucking program. They first started it with goddamn Serato, which is the DJ, what the standard software that DJs use now. And in fact, when DJs spin a song now through the software, it can now be sound scanned as a performance right, and they could actually get money now off of this program, which they couldn't monitor DJs before. Who knew what a DJ was playing at some party somewhere? But if they're using Serato, that now shows now clocks what they're playing, and so on and so forth. All right, so now, and the artist gets paid, but pennies on the penny. Now, okay, so Serato comes up with a program that can take any song and get the vocals off of it. You can now have an acapella of the reasons why we're here. Never existed anywhere. This is AI. No one in music is going to complain. Now they create a website. There's a few now where I can drop my MP3 in there and take the bass line, the drums, or the vocals clean. So there's songs, for instance, there's a song by Esther Williams in the music world, we called it Telephone Jam, because the entire song, the drums, but they had telephones on them. Ding. So you had to put up with it. You're able to now run it through this AI program, because it's .ai, run it through this program and pull off those telephone and just have the raw drums. Game changer. But what they're doing and how they always do it, when they introduce something that they're going to scare the shit out with you, make you love it. They found the perfect thing. No fucking man in music. This literally has the potential for bringing 90s music back if it was orchestrated right. Because now sampling has gotten so bad in another business. If I take your song, you want 100%. Now I could take from songs that previously weren't recorded or sounds different, where you could take the same element, reorder it, and probably, a long story short, probably get away with it without paying them. And this is an AI program. So when I seen it, I said, I know what they're doing. They're getting you to love it, and they're going to put it in more areas where it's going to be very useful as a dummy. They first started with Alexa. That's an AI program, but they made it real stupid, because each thing they want to invent, they have to put it out stupid. So when they give you the end result, you think we transformed or technology our way to it. Remember, they're only copying our technology. So they knew how to do this in the 70s, AI and all that shit. They're just trying to introduce it to make it seem like we're evolving. Because if black people realize they're already evolved, we already built pyramids, we went to sleep, and this waking up pyramid is actually an exodus. What they get us to do is want to stay here. Kamala Harris and all this hope shit with Obama, and to make you think one day we'll have flying cars and cars that drive themselves. They could do that tomorrow if they wanted. They could have did it when they brought it up. Remember, there's a flying cars on the pyramids. They got the Land Cruiser from the pyramids directly. Helicopters from the pyramids directly. There's hieroglyphs that are shaped in these shapes. So now, so they been know how to do it, because we've been know how to do it through ley lines, through how to through the ley lines use in fact, levitation is how to change your polarity in your gravity to push against this Earth's gravity. And you could do that through the ley lines, through traveling. And we knew how to do that shit. Why do you think they're so specific on where they set a railroad at? Remember, you see all them shows, the railroad wants your land, man. Why? It's just tracks. Can't it just go around? No, it wants to cut through, because there's certain energy and electricity that are on these ley lines that they use. And they want to tap in, so they need a certain path to get through. That's why they break through walls, break through caves, all that shit to keep on these ley lines to get them for their tracks. They know it. And these ley lines, the way they from the pyramids, if you draw a straight line, there's significant cities. So from like Napoleon raided the Temple of Dendera. And he took the roof, and that's the Temple of Isis. So then he took all that shit back to France, and they created Paris. Paris is Isis. So on February 13th, on Friday the 13th, which is Isis's day, the Venus, the 13 pieces, the Friday, the goddess Venus, which is her. So Friday the 13th is her. On Friday the 13th, the terrorist group ISIS does something in Paris. Like, nigga, that's all ritual. If you draw a ley line or a straight line from the Temple of Dendera, there's a straight line that goes to Paris. There's a straight line from the Great Pyramid to Washington, D.C. There's another straight ley line from United Nations to another pyramid. So all of these sacred spots have ley lines that connect, because it's like meridians on the planet. So they're energy pathways. Like the Nile is an energy pathway. They said that actually connects to the Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? On the other side of the world. So these ley lines are important, and they knew how to do it. They know how to make floating cars, all that shit. But they have to manufacture a world that's evolving. And because they can't evolve spiritually, they manufacture our world through technology, our mind state through technology. If you don't believe it, I told you this. I may be in the club and I'm up on Salam and I'm doing all the right things with the Hennessy, you know what I'm saying? And we in the club, zoom doom to doom. Then I pull out a BlackBerry, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I got this little thing over here, Salam, and we about to go hang out. I bet you after she see that flip phone BlackBerry, that's a wrap. You follow what I'm saying? And she's really going to define me being an asshole through my old phone, through technology. Not necessarily an asshole, but somebody she may not want to get involved with. If I pull out a flip phone, and then they'll do shit like make flip phones again, which I bought, and act like it's the new next shit. Or they'll make you a watch, be like, yeah, we in a new era, but it's still a watch. It's they're hyping you up to make you believe through technology, which is their power. And it's still something they took from us, our creativity. The stuff we created, they're just using the science that we already created to create things that look new. So in your mind, you're under psychological warfare, believing that you're still evolving into something. What you don't understand is you've already evolved. You've already got the wings and the halo. See, when you realize that, you turn your attention off them and crypto and what they try to entertain your mind with. How dangerous vaccines are, nigga. We be dead already. I get it. If you get it in that moment, you fucked up. But your melanin is going to supersede that. Why do you think they have booster shots, nigga? Think about that. If they hit you one time and they got the be all and end all in that neo, why they got to give you a booster, bruh? Because that means it didn't work. We don't even use our common sense. That means it's not working like they want it to work. Otherwise, they do it one fucking time. That's why they got 30 things you can name, because that's 30 things that ain't working. I'm sure it's crippling and doing damage, but it's not working. We buy into this bullshit and these conspiracy theories because we don't believe in ourselves. And then you're easily manipulated by fear and the non-belief in yourself. It's harder to do what I do. Tell you you are special, you all can do it, and you have to do it. Nobody wants to hear that. They wants to hear that the vaccines got them all fucked up. The chemtrails got them all fucked up. The GMO got them all fucked up. So that's why when they act all fucked up, they got a reason. But I say you fucked up because you don't know your shit. All these fucking weirdo goddamn questions about side shit when I keep bringing you to the same shit. You doing that because you don't know your shit. The first thing I told you, think of something simple, an apple. Bring your imagination, bring your five senses back in there with you. So all of these things are happening because you are the divine people. So of course you're seeing monsters and ghouls. Of course you're seeing all these lights. You're the divine person. But what you do with them is the first thing I said. That matters. I said it when we started. I said you could take all of these in the world, but this is going to be conspiracy and paranoia if you have no place to go with it in here. So if you meditate and got no place to go with it in here, what the fuck you think is going to happen? A bunch of monsters and ghouls you can't control, or a bunch of darkness you can't get past, or at least in a person's interpretation of stuff. And again, I'm not trying to dog these people out, only using their example to teach everyone. But most people are on that level for the reasons I said. So I don't have to point and make these people exclusive. They are the story of the Black community. They just won't go to this simple thing. I'm lucky enough to have been taught as a kid and went this simple route. Otherwise, I would have missed it too, trying to be deep. Well, we got to do this and we got to do that. And I expect all these lights and bills to come on. I told you earlier, I expected, even at 16, a bunch of shit. My father said, no, it's subtle. It's subtle in how you think. And then when I think back, yeah, and I hate to say it, I was always smarter than my peers. I did the dumb shit that they did, but I did it smart. I think they always looked to me for an answer. it was always a certain amount of calm I can have, a certain amount of anxiety, and I'm a human being, but there was a certain thing I can attribute as I think back that without meditation, where I would have been. You get what I'm saying? And then when I really understood the concept of it, boom, I was there. I was talking this shit. I was doing shit because I already had the climate. And the climate started based upon the basics. Start with an apple. I know you feel you better than that. I know you feel you bigger than that. But let me tell you something. You really not. Let's do
Yo,
another question. There's somebody who had a question up.
I'm enjoying this because you remind me of boot camp so much. I used to be in the military. I used to be in the Coast Guard.
Right.
And Panic reminds me of when the drill sergeants would tell those. It was mostly white guys because I was in the Coast Guard, and they would be like, "Pig Company, Poet Hut," and he would have all these white guys being really uptight because everybody has to march to the sound of oink, oink, oink. And I thought that shit was hilarious.
Right.
But that's what's needed to break up the ego, and then they would restructure you for military
Right. That's the whole
service.
point.
So
Because
you gotta
what they're
literally
doing-
salute our griot brother Panic to giving you free boot camp ass whoopings to break you out your monkey mind. I salute you,
Yeah,
brother.
that's what we're doing. Like, I mean, I could tell you how special you are, but how far does that really get you? You know what I'm saying? You rather hear the truth, and you rather hear it coarse, or you should want to hear it coarse. And at the end of the day, I'm only talking to the people who do want to hear it coarse. If you don't, then you're in the wrong place, and I'll never be fun for you. Never. If you're looking, because some people are at a place where they just found this community and their self-esteem needs it. But boot camp, remember this, boot camp is only nothing more than just mind control. And I've studied mind control. So learning how to speak in my style of speaking, it sounds like boot camp because boot camp is copying off of what we're supposed to be doing.
Yep.
You're supposed to be restructuring. You're supposed to be breaking down the ego and restructuring the mind. You're supposed to be getting them prepared for a quantum experience.
And
The
that's
real
what-
black community is where I'm at, niggas. And I'm trying to tell you, you need to join it. So once you start to restructure your mind and y'all connect back to that source that you come from, son, then you're making a quantum connection down here. Then when you die, you understand the climate of what you actually going for when you die, what heaven is, what home is. And it ain't this shit. It ain't the next level of this shit. Any nigga that's always telling you the next level of this shit is either too dumb to be talking to you and you're too smart to be following that crap, or they are motherfucking agents keeping you occupied and distracted with bullshit masquerade like spirituality.
And you know who spoke about this family and Brother Panic? Carlos Castaneda. In his book series, he said, seek out a person that will basically stomp your ego so that you can move into your magic.
Next level.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Carlos Castaneda.
Yeah, and the sorcerer was named Don Juan.
Don Juan. Yeah, I got that book.
Yep.
Yeah. Carlos Castaneda. They referenced him, I believe, in the movie The Matrix guys, the other one they did that was so detailed, Cloud9 Atlas, the weird one. I think they referenced Carlos Castaneda in there.
I do want to make an announcement, and Brother Panic's a Taurus. Next week we're going to have another Taurus genius, and he does boot camp, but he does it mildly compared to Panic. But he does a stomping on you like duh, and that's Lester Lovin. So before we close out, I want to just put up this promo video by compliments of Miss Bliss. All right?
Wow.
So
All right.
yeah, Lester is next level. So I want to thank everybody. This was I like the fact that you started at 7. You know, that was good.
Yeah. So it ain't that late.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
Salam, I want to thank you for holding space throughout this entire
Hello.
presentation. Thank
I
you
am love.
so much.
I am love. Only thing
Moji,
missing is this.
thank you. And to the other sisters who were here that bailed out like geese in formation into the realms of sleep,
Punk.
thank you.
Thank
know,
you to his sisters who fell in the realm of sleep.
yeah, I'm going to go easy. But
And thank you, Moji, and thank you, Salam, for staying in, holding down the weight of the
yeah,
Shakti powers.
on Sundays we have
I
the
mean,
I
Moji.
Am affirmations from Brother Laji, and we got Healing Circle Tuesdays for us to take your crystals and your mushrooms and your ayahuasca and your tantra skills and try to assist somebody and sharpen your skills. So that being said, Panic, I'm ready to wrap it up, man.
All right, sounds good. We'll be back on another Thursday, maybe 2 weeks again, and something,
Yeah,
and we'll figure out something basic to talk about. I hope I
yeah.
kept it basic.
This is good. I enjoyed it.
Species. I hope
And family,
yeah.
please contribute because you ain't gonna find boot camp, ass whooping, ego stomping, technology like this dojo that Brother Panic is providing for you because everyone else will
Uncle Hank is actually provided. You get me in the mood. I ain't been in the mood to talk in a long time.
Boot camp. Listen,
Uncle
family.
Hank, y'all got to thank
this is
Uncle
the
Hank.
boot camp to break you out of your mental prison. So
They give you some tools. I'm just going to try to keep it basic. I'm assuming that we're missing. We used to have guys that talk the basic stuff, and people would graduate into some of the stuff I was talking about. But shit, I think those guys have been cut off at the knees because of so much stupidity. Nobody's really interested. So those who are, and in the forums like this one who are, I think we deserve to give them some basic. I wish there was somebody else that could, come up with, and teach, but it is what it is. It works in cycles, and I think there'll be a new cycle, but it ain't right now.
And I want to thank the sisters for being on because your radiance, your feminine radiance, Moji, Salam, Salika, Khadija, it's very healing subconsciously because Brother Panic is beating the shit out the ego, and then y'all smooth it out without even. Go ahead. What you gonna say, bro?
Subconsciously, I'm waiting for y'all to catch it. Subconsciously, I think Moji got it.
So the
you got
feminine
it?
Shakti sisters, y'all like grandma buttering the pan, and Panic is a pan.
Pan.
Yep. So thank you, and we'll see y'all soon.
Moji's the only one catching on to this shit, really.
We're gonna have some interesting sleep tonight, y'all. I want to thank everyone in the audience. Thank you for being here. Peace and blessings. We out.
Yes, man. Yeah.